Every story has a surface. Not every truth stays there. When the noise gets louder, clarity's still rare. For questions that matter, come talk with Sally. Sally, Sally. Join the conversation. Talk with Sally. Talk.
Welcome everyone to Talk with Sally. We've got last week tonight. There has been so much news that has gone and taken place since last week. I had a list of, I think it's like 14 things so far. I'm going to give you kind of a rundown. While I'm getting this pulled up, guys, go ahead and share out this stream to your friends. Let's get in here. Let's have a good time while we go over the various topics of the week. So we have it's called Wiz, W-H-I-Z, the Tinder app for kids. Utah is being priced out of the housing market. Federal union rules are trying to be changed. Black Lives Matter executive has been arrested. Let's see. Oh my gosh, there's so much. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, an illegal wife beating human smuggling. MS-13 gang member has been released back into society. We have Tim Burchell's bill to stop sending money to the Taliban. Border Patrol agents were shot in Texas. We have Tyler Robinson, the alleged assassin of Charlie Kirk, appeared in court. And then we have Steve Friend. We covered this story earlier in the week, and this is a story that we will spend the most time on tonight. And I hope you guys can hear me okay. If you can't, please let me know. So we covered the J6 pipe bomber. We discussed how, it probably was Shawnee Kirkhoff and not Brian Cole. Brian Cole's arms are longer. His legs are a lot shorter. He walks like a man. She walks like an athletic female. And oh my gosh, I forgot to grab that footage. So while one of these clips are playing later, I will find the video with the bra strap where, it's going to be quite interesting to see that. There's a massive thread on the whistleblower. Whistleblowers have come forward concerning the January 6th pipe bomber. And we're going to go over that thread because it's a really good one. Is that everything? Yeah, I think it is. And so, Steve Friend, one of the whistleblowers from the FBI who was doing a podcast with Kyle Seraphin the week before they brought him back to the office because they didn't want him speaking on podcasts anymore, was fired on Saturday. And we will talk about how all of that went down. You know what? I need another. My song, 30 seconds is not long enough. I need a song that is, might have to play 2 intro songs instead of just the one. And I do want to thank Kim Tink from X. She's an AI content creator. She's absolutely fantastic. And today I'm like, do you think that you could put together an intro and a natural song for me? Within a half hour, she had a song for me. So that is what we have so far so that I can have an intro song for all of you people over on YouTube, because YouTube sucks a lot. In case you guys haven't noticed, there's my Kim. I don't know if you got to hear your song. Now that you're in here, I can click on your name easy and get you up so people can follow you. I mean, she is one of the kindest, most amazing people, extremely helpful. So I appreciate you so much. Okay, give me 3 seconds, guys. I've got to pull up my chat over on X so that I can reply to people if I need be. So Kim, we might need to, maybe I need to put that song. I wonder if I can loop that song. Hold on. We're going to do a little experiment here, guys. I wonder if I put it on, if it just loops. I need a song that goes do, 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 do. Like when I'm looking up stuff. Since I am my own producer, that might be kind of, I'm gonna look at my media assets. Just one sec. Okay, guys, you hear this song again? I'm curious if it will loop if I just let it keep playing.
Every story has a surface. Not every truth stays there. When the noise gets louder, clarity's still rare. For questions that matter.
No, it doesn't loop, but it does put me right back to over here. So that is really good news. So it just takes me off the screen. It does play. I'm just about done. I'm just putting this into a couple of little chat groups here. This is why I need me a wingman to put this in all these chats. Let's see. There's certain ones I can't put it in, so I have to be careful. All right, one more, and that'll be good enough. All right, two more. Let's see. Sorry, you know what? I'm wearing my contacts tonight. The bad thing about wearing contacts is I can't see I can see my screen perfect, but I want to look at my computer that's got smaller handwriting. It's really hard for my eyes to focus. Oh my gosh, I got added to more chat groups today. I don't like having this many. Okay, I don't see it. We'll just have to, I'll do it later. Don't think. Oh gee. I don't even know what that group is. Sorry, I'm speaking out loud. Just 3 more seconds. So anyway, I'm excited. I got all of this stuff organized tonight, and like last time, everything's going to be good to go. Hopefully it's going to be a smoother experience for us. Last time it was a little rough. The information was really good. It was very much needed to be read. Let's see. I can't find it. I guess I can't read. They must have changed the name of it. All right, it is what it is. Okay, guys, I want to get back. I want to get into the meat and the potatoes of this stream. So I'm going to do this thing. I think I'm going to do last week tonight with Talk with Sally on Sunday nights to do a recap of everything that happened last week. Because what happens is the news cycle is designed to work in 24-hour news cycles with a 60-second clip. So whatever happened on Monday is completely gone. No one has a clue about it. It's just gone into the wind. So what I'm wanting to do is to do a recap and go a little bit further into all of these stories. So I'm going to pick out a bunch of them. I'm going to say the most important ones that I want to spend the most time for last. I definitely want to go into the January 6th stuff. And then I want to give you guys some people to be following this week with the Brown shooting, the Brown University shooting, and with the shooting that took place in Australia. And there's breaking news, which I have not had any time to look into this story. There was also a shooting in Pennsylvania where some cops were shot tonight. So I have no idea about that. So we'll just go until the stream does not. A lot of people put like a 1 hour time limit, 2 hour time limit. I'm going to try to get through all the news stories that I have ready to go, because for me, they're important stories. And I want to start for sure with the kids first, because the children so for those of you who don't know me, who are new to either my Rumble channel, my X channel, or YouTube, I haven't streamed a whole ton on YouTube because of the censorship, and they've kind of relaxed some of their rules a little bit. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping that I can speak about things that need to be spoken about without having to worry about what I say. So those are the topics that I talk about. So I always want to highlight anything that is important that took place throughout the week as far as children and what we can do. There's 5 shootings in 2 days. All I know is the one with the Brown University. There was the one at the Texas border. So there's 2. There was Australia, and then Pennsylvania. Which one what's the 5th one that I'm missing, possibly, Aaron? Okay, so I have all of these, all of this ready to go. And I even went as far as to even put all the links in here, guys. So I'm not going to be searching through all of my bookmarked stuff to be trying to figure out where everything is, which is going to be good news for you guys, hopefully. I want to just make sure that my stream is playing over on Rumble real quick. So it's muted. Say it's live. It should tell me everything. Everything says green. I'm not going to worry about it. If it's not playing over on Rumble, someone I'm sure will let me know. Okay, so for our first story tonight, we're going to talk about the Wiz Tinder app for kids. And I haven't read through this article yet, so we'll read through it quickly and let's see where we're at with this. But the good news is I did make sure that I could, all these links work. Perfect. All right, let's just share the screen really quick. Thank you guys. Thank you, Kim, for reposting. Thank you, Sally Cisco, for reposting. I do appreciate that. Let's see, share. All right, so we got this pulled up here. Oh my gosh, it's not going to do this to me again tonight. I don't know what is going on with StreamYard, but it minimizes to where I can't share change my screen layout. So let's see. Okay, everybody, you're going to have to hold on for 15 seconds while I hurry up and refresh my StreamYard. All right, I'm back. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get the proper, this is the format I want there. All right, thank you for your patience. Oh, I wasn't aware the one you mentioned occurred tonight, so there's 4 in mind. Okay, I thought you said 5 in 2 days. Yeah. I've got them all down, so I'll let you know where each of these happened. Okay, so we have right here, we have Wiz, W-I-Z-Z. It's the Tinder for Kids app. Exposes kids to predators, and Congress must act. So I'm putting this out here on this live stream, and it's gonna be the forefront. I'm always going to start with the kids part, and then we'll move into the other stories. So Senator Marsha Blackburn, she's a representative of Tennessee, Republican Tennessee, speaks during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing in Washington, January 24th. Oh, this is old. This is an old story. Why did this come across my feed? It must be something new coming out. Blackburn and Senator Richard Blumenthal. I wonder, I probably should have read through this. Or is that an old picture? The story has been updated. Okay, so it has been updated to correct descriptions of how users connect on the web. We regret the error. An app called Wiz has been making headlines lately for connecting minors with, how do I say that word? With predators. Let's put it that way. Many have described the app as a Tinder for kids. It's the same purpose of pursuing profiles to find someone you like. In other words, connecting with online strangers. But unlike Tinder, the app is targeted at both teens and adults. So you know if you're going to have teenagers on there, you are going to have younger than teenagers because you're going to have those 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds who are really smart, who are going to find a way to get onto these apps, put in a password. My daughter used to do this all the time. I was constantly going through and deleting apps. You guys can set passwords too to make sure your kids can't add apps without a password. An eighth grader being abused by a 27-year-old man, then finding out she was only one of several underage girls who had gotten groomed through Wiz. An 11-year-old girl was being assaulted by a U.S. Marine she met on Wiz. All this in the last year alone, and there are many more cases. As reports of Wiz facilitating, I don't know what words I can use on YouTube, guys. This is really terrible. This is why I don't like this platform. Sorry. So I'm gonna, you can read as of, as reports of Wiz facilitating child abuse material continue to pile up. Something must change with the app itself, and more broadly when it comes to online child safety. Just a few years back, the National Center on Exploitation of Children urged app stores to remove Wiz on account of the rampant exploitation occurring on the platform. Within 36 hours, both Google Play and the Apple Store agreed. Later on, Wiz was reinstated with what appeared to be a number of new safety tools. As time went by, however, it became abundantly clear that Wiz was not as safe as it seemed. If the continued reports of exploitation weren't convincing enough, the New York Post reported on what happened when the company's safety tools were directly pressure tested. Although Wiz claims to have robust age verification, a 52-year-old man said he was able to create an account as a 15-year-old. How? Because even though the age verification tech flagged this man's profile for review, he said that Wiz moderators went ahead and approved it within minutes. This is even worse than not having an age verification to begin with. Content continues below survey. Wiz made claims of safety by boasting about tools like age verification, but behind the scenes, they actually directly eroded the concerns flagged by these tools. When the National Center for Exploitation of Children shared this story, Wiz reached out to us, saying the New York Post claims were false and that the 52-year-old's account was never approved. So what did we do? We tested the app ourselves. Of course, that's what you would do, guys. You would definitely test it yourselves. And our 28-year-old adult employee was able to easily create an account as a 16-year-old. Wiz is currently enduring a fresh wave of bad press, and it has once again made changes on paper. On paper? On Reddit? Okay, if you know what that is from, such as increasing its lower age limit from 13 to 16 years. Yet the efficacy of its age verification still falls short. Honestly, we are sick of this. We are sick of tech companies utterly neglecting safety until they're threatening with serious consequences and then announcing flashy new tools as a publicity stunt while having zero intention to implement those tools properly. And it isn't only Wiz. We've seen this with countless tech companies over the years. Meta whistleblowers Case Savage describes the pattern of behavior perfectly. At a congressional hearing on September 9th, Savage explained, Meta has failed to prioritize child safety until they are scrutinized by outside regulators. Thank you, Zane, for reposting the stream. And welcome, Nathan. Meta has failed to prioritize child safety until they are scrutinized by outside regulators. Then they scramble to develop features they know are insufficient and largely unused and advertise this as proof of their responsibility. Further proving Savage's point, recent research found that 2/3 of Meta's safety tools for minor accounts were ineffective, with only 17% working as described by Meta. The message is clear. Big tech cannot be trusted to self-regulate. Well, no, really? Big tech cannot be trusted to regulate? That really surprises me. The only way to incentivize these companies to change is for Congress to pass legislation that holds them accountable if their products are found to be unsafe. One particular promising solution pending before Congress is the Kids Online Safety Act. That passed, okay. A bipartisan bill. This must be an old article, but I want you guys can go through this. I'll put the link in the chat for this, and I'll do that right now. So you guys can go and read this article. This is actually brilliant. Copy. Let's go to, I should pull up this real quick. Having these links available is going to be really nice because then I'm going to be able to just put the links in there really easily. Let's go down here and put a comment. Oh no, let's put it in the, no, we'll put it in the comments. Perfect. So if anyone who goes to rewatch these streams over on Rumble, you are going to be able to find the link to this. I'm going to put the link right here, and later on I'll go through and put the link. The reason why I bring up this story, and next time I'll make sure, this came across to me. It was sent to me in one of my anti-trafficking chats. So obviously it must be something that is going on that is necessary to be out there. You guys need to be aware of what apps your kids are what they're utilizing. They will try to hide them. They'll try to go incognito. Make sure you have passwords set up. Monitor what your kids are doing online. These men, 55 years old, 35 years old, 60, 70, will pretend to be 15-year-old studs. So they'll even have pictures of them looking all kinds of amazing. It's catfishing for kids. We call it grooming, right? So you got to be on top of it. You got to be on top of what your kids are doing. This is an opinion. This is from The Hill, by the way. In short, this is an incredibly well thought out bill. Okay, this passed. Okay, this is my bad. This was sent to me this week. But this story is still relevant as far as making sure that you guys are paying attention to what your kids are getting onto, what legislation is out there, how we can make sure that we are getting a hold of our congressmen and holding them accountable and making sure that they are putting legislation in place that is actually going to help our kids. Yes, Aaron, there you are 100% correct. All the legislation in the world doesn't mean anything unless they are held accountable. We actually talked about that. I think you were in here on Tuesday when we did our anti-trafficking space, that if they allow these people to be charged with 10 crimes, right? And they do a plea deal for a lesser charge and only charged with 2 of them, they're not being held accountable. They're getting away from it. And the recidivism rate for these type of crimes is astronomical. They are almost guaranteed that they are going to reoffend. So lock them up, keep them away. That's all I'm going to say about that one. All right. Let's go ahead and we're going to find our next little story here. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, they sneak in. They do. Yeah. They've already brought in the digital ID here in Utah for you to be able to access certain websites. So I want you guys to start paying attention to, we think, oh, that's going to be so great. It's going to protect the kids. It's not going to protect the kids. All it's going to do is they're going to get smart. They're going to find a workaround. They are probably going to use a VPN, and then they're going to change their location and they're going to access what they want to access, or they're going to find, I guess if they do ID, children don't have ID. So are they going to try to take their facial recognition? I know that brings up some really good questions of how they go about it. Cause I know that if I want to access my Utah State website, I have to take a picture of my ID and then a picture of my face for me to be able to access it. So now they have my biometrics. See how that they tricked me into giving them my biometrics, which I'm still upset about to this day in case anyone wants to know. I'm still not very happy about that. Everything, Aaron, you're spot on. Everything starts with parenting. Everything boils down to being a good parent. Are you paying attention to what your kids are doing? All right, so we've got the Wiz Tinder app. So it's WIZZ, and it's the same thing as Tinder. Is you get to put your profile out there, talk with people, and kind of mingle about. Okay. Welcome, Meme Looter. See, for whatever reason, certain people do not show up in my one chat. So this is why I pulled my other chat to make sure that those, and I wonder if it's people who are being suppressed. Okay. So Utah is being priced out of the housing market. This is going to apply to Utah people, but pay attention because what goes on in Utah is eventually going to happen in a state near you. So just keep that in mind. All right. And it's going to do, okay, I don't know. I don't know what StreamYard is doing to me, but I wonder if there's an update that I have no clue about. It's very possible, I guess. Okay. Let's see if we've got that on the screen. Add to stage. There we go. Why is it going to give me my layouts? Show Sheen panel. Okay, guys. I think that between every story, I'm going to have to do a 15-second refresh. I'm getting quite good at this, though. So 15 seconds refresh. This needs to be fixed. This is absolutely ridiculous. And I am back. So we'll get this next article back up on this stage. So Utah is being priced out of the housing market. And how is it that that is taking place? Well, we're going to go to hear a one Phil Lyman. Let's see, can I pop this out? There's supposed to be a way to pop this out. I don't see it. Well, as long as a chat pop out. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can pop this out. Nope. Okay, we'll just read it like this. Make sure you guys can see it. Oh, I should add it to the stage. That might be helpful. There we go. Can you guys see that okay? Hi, Auntie Kami. How are you doing? Beautiful. Guys, if you're not following Auntie Kami, make sure that you're giving her a follow. One of the most amazing accounts on X. Very helpful. Just a very kind, amazing person. Okay, so how is Utah being priced out of the housing market? Okay, so the median home price is $578,000. $578,000, guys. My house, I'm going to tell you what I got it for $142. It is now worth nearly $500,000. I would never pay $500,000 for the price of my house. So the income needed for that mortgage is $169K a year. Now, keep in mind that the median household income is $94,000. So can you see why kids that are, graduating college are not able to afford a house? This would be it exactly why. Our kids can't afford to grow up in the state that they grew up in. I love Utah. I'm 20 minutes, 30 minutes from any ski resort, from lakes, from fishing. I'm right close to everything. And I dread the day that I may have to move away because of the prices here. This didn't happen by accident. We had sky-high city permitting fees, endless bureaucracy and delays, massive immigration from like Colorado, and I'm going to say illegal immigration. We also took in a bunch of people from Afghanistan. We took people in from Syria. They are totally changing the demographics of Utah. And we have antiquated water laws, very, very bad water laws, and legislature subsidies. We can fix the housing crisis, but not with more of the same RS who created, I think he meant to say BS, or rhinos. Maybe he meant to say rhinos who created and fed the crisis. And this is where I'm going to give my plug for the rhino removal project, guys. If you go to, let me just pull it up. We're going to go to the website. We're going to pull up, we're going to go to rhino removal project. Okay, let's go here. And I'll put this on holding U.S. politicians accountable. Okay, so we're going to pull this up on the screen, guys. Anytime that I get an opportunity to give those guys not just a shout out, but to share with you what they have going on. So let me put this on full screen for you guys. What's up, Mr. Duggar? All right, so I'm going to put this full screen for just 1 second. So this is the rhino removal project. I know the people who have been working tirelessly since last January trying to put this together. You know what? I'm not going to put it full screen. I'm going to be partial on screen. Let's do partial on screen here. All right, so I like everyone who's been working tirelessly. This is a legit thing. So rhino removal project, their whole entire goal is it's a grassroots organization. The whole goal is to identify rhinos in your area, so local action. Get involved at the local level, spot them out, find viable candidates that can replace them. So if you guys know like what happened with New York with Mamdani, there wasn't a Republican that was viable that people would get behind, go out and campaign for to get in the office. Therefore, the GOP did not put money behind the GOP candidate because they're going, oh, well, why put money behind him? Because he's going to lose. So this is boots on the ground. This is getting people involved in your state at your county level to get boots on the ground, knocking on doors, campaigning, working at polls, whatnot. So go to this website. It is rhinoremovalproject.org. Let me copy this link right here so that I have it for the future. All right. And I'll put that in there. So you can donate, buy merch, sign up, volunteer. So there's all kinds of things. Go through this website, check it out if you're interested. If you volunteer, they do have a vetting process. And it's just, if you handle money, you're going to be vetted. They are going to do a background check. ICE gets funded. All right, so I have this map here. Let's put this on full screen, guys, so that you can see it a little bit better. So you can go through this whole entire map, and you can see the various different states. You have Alaska with 122K. Utah's at 169. California's 210. Washington's 175, 177, and 190. What's up, neurodivergent? Welcome to Last Week Tonight with Talk with Sally. We're going to cover all of the news from last week because all the news cycle goes in 24 hours and 60-second clips. All right, so as you guys can see, house prices outpaced income growth. You can see this little line here. You have the blue line. That's the housing costs. And then you have our income going up. So Utah is a pilot state for everything that they want to roll out. And you guys are going to get Utah news. Reason being is I am from Utah, and I want to make sure that I cover ICE operators are 10,000 versus 4,500 ICE operators. We'll have to elaborate on that for me. Oh yeah, this next one's going to be good. So this is pertaining to Utah as well. And this is another reason why the housing market is staying really big like it is this reason right here. Let's see. X is being slow. Is that, there we go. Is that the one I just put up there? That's not the one I want. Oh, just because I don't have, that's because it doesn't, because this is one of the ones that doesn't have a site for it. That would be my bad. Oh, you're saying they're going to go from 10,000 ICE operators from 4,500. Coming January 1st. Gotcha. I can comprehend that. So real quick here. So just think of the housing prices. Utah used to not be one of the highest states for taxes. They are totally taxing the crap out of everyone. So Salt Lake County just approved a 14% property tax increase. Republican Amy Winder Newton voted yes. Republican Sheldon Stewart voted yes. Republican D. Theodore voted yes. Republican Laurie Stringham voted yes. With Republicans like this, who needs Democrats? So Utah is full of a bunch of rhinos, which, if for those of you who don't know what rhino means, it is simply Republican in name only. Yes, it did. And that's awesome too. Let's see. All right, so we are going to go. This is going to be our next story. And guys, if I'm going too fast paced for you, please let me know. I'm just wanting to touch on the stories, give you like highlight. Always do your own research. I try to use very good sources. I am very picky with what I what I use. Because the truth matters more than being first to stories, which I'm excited about last week tonight, because it's going to allow me to take my time. This one's not one. Okay, this one, I was looking to see if this story was when I was able to download the video. Let me know, okay, when I play this, Aaron, you're my audio guru. I'm relying on you for this, because I haven't played any audio from Outside Link yet tonight. All right, so this is a post from David Pollock. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He is going to be on OANN News, which is going to be pretty cool for him. All right. And I've met him through Spaces. So 13 Republicans, sorry, let me say this again. 13 Republicans broke with President Trump again, this time on his executive order tightening federal union rules. The base supports Trump, not the old GOP 2026 coming up. Let's see. Let's pop this out. Sorry, I was reading. Sorry, I was reading. Guilty.
Part of the president's governing agenda.
This sounds really quiet already. Okay, so hopefully I'm gonna be able to turn it up. Make sure it's on studio. Put it on full screen.
Thirteen Republicans. Yep, 13 Republicans just voted against President Trump's executive order on federal unions. Let's be clear about what this order actually did. President Trump signed a directive aimed at tightening federal union rules, things like accountability, transparency, and making sure taxpayer-funded agencies operated efficiently instead of being bogged down by union politics. Whether you like the policy or not, it was about streamlining government for Americans, not targeting workers. But here's the real story. 13 Republicans still broke ranks. Not over some massive ideological divide, but over a core part of the president's governing agenda. And this keeps happening over and over again. Even after everything the voters have made crystal clear, there are Republicans in Congress who will still believe they can survive by opposing the one person that actually leads the party. This could be a preview of 2026. You either stand with the president and the voters who put you in office keep you there, or you won't be in office much longer. Maybe you don't care. Because the base doesn't rally behind the GOP. They rally behind Trump. They trust him to fight for them, not the career politicians trying to play both sides. Republicans need to understand that if they want to keep their seats, keep their relevance, and keep their connection to the people, and keep Democrats from taking over the country, they have one job: support the president's agenda or make room for someone who will. Follow for more straight facts and let me know in comments what you think. Do you support these 13 Republicans in trying to stop Trump? 13
Oh, that's push pause there. All right, so that is David Pollock. He does a lot of reporting with OAN News. He fills in a lot for them, which is really exciting. So give him a follow on X. His name is David Pollock. The reason why I showed this clip, and this is going to be a conversation, a much longer conversation for another day, but I want to introduce it to you because I will cover this in longer detail on its own. The unions need to have reform. And I don't know if you guys realize that, like the Democrat Socialist Liberation Party or the Democrat Socialist of America Party, Antifa, and queer Marxists, this is how they are infiltrating the government. They are getting in positions like they are becoming lawyers. They are becoming teachers, and not just teachers at the local level. They are becoming professors at the colleges. They are teaching our kids. So they are infiltrating in these little small organizations where they can cause disruption. They're becoming police officers, lawyers, court clerks, secretaries. They are becoming involved in the government. A lot of these organizations, they're communists. Therefore, they do not believe in private property ownership, which means they don't really care about the Constitution, right? Because that is part of our Constitution. And so the fact, sorry, I just got distracted by an itchy nose. There was my squirrel ADD moment late at night. You guys are going to have many of those because as hard as I tried tonight to stream at 8 o'clock, didn't work out. So we're going to have these late night streams because I'm determined to stream no matter what. Hopefully you're going to get more notice. I'm going to get on a schedule and we're going to make it happen. But these different organizations, they are anti-America. They do not believe in voting as a way to take over the government. They want to violently overthrow the United States government. But you have people like the DSL who are trying to get in through elections and through those type of means. So be paying attention to these groups. That is who Mamdani is under, is the DSL or the Democrat. So is it DSA or DSL? Democrat Socialist Liberation Party. I get those two mixed up. So there's the Democrat Socialists of America, and they are in every single city. They're in every single county. So guys, go into your local area and make sure that you know who is running for office. And it's not just office. Who is running for the school board? Who is running for mayor? Who is running for county commissioner? Who's your garbage truck? Anything that is an elected office, look and see which party they are affiliated with. Do some background checks. We need to start making sure that we are not electing these people. We need to make sure that we get candidates in that are going to fight for this country. All right. So we're going to go on to our next story. Does anyone have any questions? Leave comments in the chat on Rumble. I'm checking out YouTube. Land ownership. Yes, this is part of that. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Yeah, private property ownership, guys. With the fact that our elderly are taxed after they're retired, after they've been paying taxes forever on their homes, I don't really feel like that's ownership. They don't really own their house. If they can't pay their taxes, they're losing their house. There needs to be some things that change, and they need to change soon. All right, nothing over in the X or the Rumble chats. Okay. So we have Black Lives Matter. This is a good one. Do I have this clip? Let's see if I have this. Nope, this isn't one that I have a clip for either. So we're just going to share the website with you all. By the way, I hope you guys all had a fantastic week. This is the start of next week, and I am liking how this is starting out. I'm starting out with all of you guys. Okay, where's my mousey thing? Go over. So this story is from Nick Sorter over on X. He is a citizen journalist, so make sure that you are giving him a follow as well. I actually really like Nick's reporting. This is going to be one of our shorter stories, but it's still one that I feel like we should cover. So we have over here, we have Black Lives Matter executive director has been arrested by the FBI in Oklahoma City for wire fraud and money laundering, per FBI Kash Patel. Tashella Dickerson, 52, is accused of stealing $3.1 million from the bail fund, using it to buy cars, 6 properties, exotic vacations, and more. Finally, these crooks are being held accountable. Black Lives Matter was a massive scam organization. Time to make examples of them. So here we have the Black Lives Matter. You guys all know about, we all know what happened with Black Lives Matter. Can't speak. Black Lives Matter. Welcome. I'm Alive 72. Welcome, welcome. All right, I'm just leaving that up for just a second so you can just see. Black Lives Matter, funded by the Soros funds. We know how that all goes. Can't go through these clips fast if I can't get my clips through there fast enough. All right. So then we have okay, this story is one that has been this story pisses me off. Out of all the stories, well, there's a couple that piss me off, but this one pisses me off a lot. And I'll tell you why as soon as I pull it up. You guys all know who Tina Peters Peters is. And if you don't know who Tina Peters is, she was in Colorado. Why is that not working? Why is everything being slow? Yeah, it's really good to. What is going on with this? Hold on. I'm not sure it's a mouse pad thing, but we'll try it. Is it? Oh, no. Why is it glitching? Hold on. It's not letting me click on anything. Okay, there we go. Oh my goodness. I love technology. I wish I could just click buttons, next story, next story. Have it, you know what? When they come up with something like that, that's going to be freaking amazing. Okay, so we have Tina Peters. She was in Colorado. She was put in prison for 10 years for backing up data from the election machines because she saw that they had a delete order after the election. They were ordered to delete things and she wanted to preserve the data. From what I understand, she didn't do it with malice or malintent. At the end of the day, though, she did break the law according to them. She was charged by a jury of her peers. And this story just breaks my heart because I've been following her. I read her threads all the time. So this is what Trump wrote this week. And then I'll tell you why it bothers me. 4 years, Democrats ignored violent and vicious crime of all shapes, sizes, colors, and types. Violent criminals who should have been locked up were allowed to attack again. Democrats were also far too happy to let in the worst from the worst countries so they could rip off American taxpayers. Democrats only think there is one crime, not voting for them. Instead of protecting Americans and their tax dollars, Democrats chose instead to prosecute anyone they can find that wanted safe and secure elections. Democrats have been relentless in their targeting of Tina Peters, a patriot who simply wanted to make sure that our elections were fair and honest. Tina is sitting in a Colorado prison for the crime of demanding honest elections. Today, I'm granting Tina a full pardon for her attempts to expose voter fraud in the rigged 2020 presidential election. And I'll tell you why this story breaks my heart. Okay, so this is her reply to President Trump. And she's excited. Who wouldn't be excited that you're getting a pardon? Thank you, Donald Trump. For years, Democrats ignored violence. Did she just re-quote that? So she just put out what he put out there and she reposted it. I was excited about this, guys. But then what did I get to doing? And I bet you guys, because my chat is really smart, I'm sure you're going to be able to figure this out. Yeah, I would really like them to start arresting bad actors. It would be really nice for them to start doing that. All right, my ex-chatters are sleeping tonight. Well done. Because Tina Peters was convicted under state crimes. And all of you guys know that Trump can't give a pardon for state charges. He can give her a federal pardon. Yes, he cannot pardon for state crimes. The only way that I could possibly see there be any kind of a positive outcome, so I don't know if he's trying to put this out there for maybe the governor in Colorado is up for election in 2026. You know what? Let's just search that real quick. Maybe he's up for election and he's putting pressure on. Is the governor of You're kind of half sleeping, Zane. I love it. As long as I know you're still kind of paying attention. No, the governor of Colorado is not for re-election 2026 because incumbent Jared Polis is term limited and cannot seek a third term. The 2026 Colorado gubernatorial election will be held to elect a new governor. Okay, so that is actually really great news. That is really, really, really... presidential pardons should cover state crimes, in your opinion? I don't know. I'm torn with this because our founding fathers set up our Constitution in a way that was to ensure that this great nation, our civil liberties would be protected. If that's what the original Constitution says without all of their amendments, then I'm all for it. But that's great news, guys. The governor of Colorado that is currently there cannot run. So in 2026, his term is up. So a couple things Trump could be trying to position and hey, whoever is running in 2026, you better pardon her if you get elected. That could be a possibility. Or there's one other option. They could bring her in as a federal witness and get her out under protection. Those are some ideas that I've seen out there. But just keep praying for Tina Peters. She's a Gold Star mom. Her son died he didn't die. He was in service, but he didn't die while active in service. He died in, I don't know, was it an air show, some type of an air. Let's see. You know what? Let's just Google it. I don't like giving out misinformation. How did All right, let's see here. Tina Peters' son, Remington Peters, died on May 8th, 2017, in a parachuting accident during a military demonstration at an air show in New Jersey over the Hudson River. He was a member of the U.S. Navy SEAL Leapfrogs parachute team and was performing stunts, including carrying a large American flag and releasing colored smoke when his primary parachute became entangled. That's tragic. This is a sad story. I don't think I wanted to read this story. He attempted to cut away the tangled parachute and deployed his reserve chute, but the reserve chute lines also became entangled with a smoke bracket attached to his leg, preventing it from functioning. This is terrible. As a result, he fell into the Hudson River and was pronounced dead shortly after being pulled from the water. The incident occurred during Fleet Week and is under investigation. That is terrible. It's under investigation. That's interesting because the first thought that went through my head right there is, how do both of your parachutes get tangled, right? Kind of sounded like tampering, but I always am wearing my tinfoil hat. So that is to be expected that I'm going to find foul play with anything that they put out there because that's just the way my head goes. You're surprised he jumped with a flag? I see it all the time. I guess in the state of Utah, we have parachuters all the time that are jumping with flags. And I don't know. I think it's cool. Yeah, it's risky, but it's so cool. Yeah, so the state already came out. So not Josh. So the governor of Colorado has already come out and said that she was convicted by a jury of her peers and that he was not going to pardon her at the state level. So I think Trump was trying to put pressure on him and he said no. He said, I'm not going to pardon her, and he's going to stick by the charges they put in there. So keep her in her prayers. I'm going to do some more, see what develops with that story. If anything more comes of it, I will make sure that I definitely update you guys. But I just thought it was sad. I was so excited. I tweeted out, yay, Tina Peters is going to be home for Christmas. Yeah, right. I don't understand. I just really, I need to go through her charges because I've heard both sides of it. I've heard it from lawyers who are Republicans that said that she broke the law by her going in. I don't know if she made it so that she wasn't being recorded when she was going in to get to copy the data. So she did something with the cameras to where she wasn't being recorded. And so why did she go through all that process? And there were people like Steve Bannon and other people who told her, was it My Pillow guy, had told her, hey, get this information, get this data, they're deleting it. She thought that she was doing good. And she got the information for people, and the people leaked that information, right? They leaked that information out. She wasn't planning on leaking it out to the public. Other people did. So there was a lot that went behind it. Y'all have to, and I should have came more prepared with it. I'm just bringing you the highlights of these stories tonight. That's what I want to do on Sundays. I'm not going to do big, huge, deep dives on. I'm going to save one or two stories for more detailed information. But this is just what's going on this week because everything is going by way, way too fast. Oh, this is okay. So I've got more to this story. I've got more for you guys. So Ann Vanderstill, I don't know if you guys know who she is, but she suggests that we should arrest Jenna Griswold for the federal election crimes that lead to the coup d'etat in 2020. So Jenna Griswold is in charge of the elections in Colorado, and she gave out all of the passwords to the voting machines. How is that not illegal? She could just walk out and never go back to Colorado. I would never step back in Colorado. Anyone that lives in Colorado and you care about raising your kids right and having a family, whatnot, I would say get the heck out of there. I would say get out as fast as you can. I know people that was their forever home. They're relocating. They're completely leaving the state. So I'm going to pull up a video from Ann Vanderstill. Let's see. I'm kind of excited. So I've learned that I can preload some of these videos as long as they are downloadable. Let's see. Oh, is this another one that was this? This was another one that I could not download. Shocker here. Okay, so let's pull up this website. But if they got her out, I don't know. I've had people say stuff about bring her in as a federal witness and then she could have protections. Maybe she could federally testify against election fraud. I don't know what is possible over there. Aaron James. Okay, I think that might be one of the biggest compliments that anyone has given me, that I have a pleasant voice, because I get told all the time how terrible my voice is. And maybe it's just people, when I'm speaking in spaces, want to go at me. Yeah, Oregon's losing people in droves. I can only imagine that they are. Let's see. Oh, do you guys hear audio on your end? I don't think that you can because it's not. I don't think I can push play. Okay, hold on. Let's make this. Let's put it up and then I'll switch this out.
To get President office.
No, I didn't want that. That's not pop out. Picture not. There we go. This is what I want. Okay, let's put it on my screen. Then we'll push play. And yes, I'm talking you through this like a little kid because that way I don't have dead air. Okay, this is just a bit long. Let's listen to what she has to say. So this is Ann Vanderstill, ANNEVANDERSTEEL.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Just want to give a shout out to Kurt Olson, Eagle Ed Martin, and of course the great Peter Tickton on getting it over the finish line to get President Trump to pardon Tina Peters. However, the work isn't done. We need to continue to follow up with Governor Polis as well as the demonic Secretary of State in Colorado, Jenna Griswold. President Trump, we're asking you to immediately move on an indictment for an insurrection done by Jenna Griswold, covering up the election crimes and actually erasing the votes out of the Dominion machine in 2020. That is a coup d'etat, sir, and she is the reason that you are not re-entering office in 2020. So please, go ahead, move on the indictments, as well as send the U.S. Marshals to Colorado to get Tina Peters out of prison. And of course, we'd like to see Jenna Griswold replaced in her cell. And if Polis stands in the way, arrest him too. Anybody who stands in the way. Again, thank you to President Trump and his team for doing step one of getting that important pardon for Tina. She should not bear that cross. She committed no crime, but we need to actually arrest and imprison those who did commit the crime. Thank you.
Yeah, arrest those that committed the crime. Amen. Okay. So that arresting Griswold could put pressure on those guys to say, you know what, let's just let Tina Peters out of prison. Neuro, if you have any information from Gouveia, I don't know if you guys follow Robert. I'm giving shout outs to people because there's a lot of people that I follow that give out good information. Robert Gouveia is another one of those. He has a YouTube channel. I think it's Watching the Watchers is what it's under. But he does a lot. He's a lawyer. He's in Arizona, and he follows all the Trump stuff pretty closely. And so he's able to read through documents and able to strategize pretty well what the options are. So that's very beneficial. All right. So now we're moving into Kilmar Abrego. That one also is not one that I have a clip of. I just about put that in the wrong window and then I would have killed our stream. That would have been glorious, huh? I could see myself doing that. Yeah, the Republicans got to start playing hardball. But the problem is that our elected officials are spending too much time trying to figure out for the next election, how do I get reelected again in how many years, right? So that's what they're always doing. So I'm going to read this to you, and then I will play this clip real quick. So we have Kilmar Abrego Garcia. You guys remember him, an illegal, wife-beating, human smuggling MS-13 gang member who he had gotten pulled over while having kids in his vehicle, and he was let go. He's been arrested several times. He was the one they were trying to send to Venezuela. They brought him back. And he has officially been released into the interior of the United States following an active judge's order. Judges do not rule our country, just deport him already. So this is from Nick Sorter again. I am going to put this on full. I keep opening the wrong window. Yeah, so I will take the, can I put Rumble links in YouTube, Neuro? I don't know if I can. I don't know if they allow that. Why is it not going full screen? Full screen. There we go. 3 seconds. 3. Come on. There we go. This, I haven't watched this all the way through yet, but we're going to watch it.
Yeah, your driver's license, your registration, and your proof of insurance.
Oh my God. Okay, sure.
Do what?
The problem with my license right now is expired, right?
It's suspended?
Suspended because I have my permanent employment, so like 2 years experience, so I need so right now I'm waiting the paper for migration for I go to the NBA, so you know. That car no is mine, so it's to my boss.
So where do y'all live at?
Where I live in? I live in Maryland.
Maryland?
Yeah, Oxon.
Whose vehicle is it? Whose car is it?
It's to my boss.
Your boss?
My boss, yeah.
Where's he live? Where's your boss live?
My boss right now is in Maryland, but he lives in Texas.
Okay.
Houston, Texas.
Have you got the proof of insurance?
Yeah, I don't know where it's put it, my boss. Let me call.
So where are you guys coming from right now? Where are you coming from?
From San Luis. so I work in San Luis. So right now, finished. That plate finished. So I go back. Everybody go back to the house to Maryland. Next week, I'm going maybe tonight with the other project.
I thought you was going to Missouri.
The next project, I told you, the next project next week is everybody going to Niceville. The next project, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Right now,
What do y'all do?
Huh?
What kind of work is it?
It's construction, like remoderation, painting, drywall, everything like that.
Does anybody else have a driver's license?
Driver license?
Yeah.
No,
Nobody.
only me, so it's there forever.
Can you find your insurance?
If I'm without insurance. You say?
Your insurance. Can you find it?
I call my boss because I don't know where put the car.
Okay. I'm gonna go back here and run your license and stuff real quick. Okay. I'll be right back. How dark are your windows?
Huh?
How dark's the back windows?
Window?
Stand by. How dark are they?
The colors.
Yeah.
From Texas is good.
How many rows have you got in here? 4?
Where?
4 seats? 4 rows of seats?
Yeah, it's three seats. Yeah, with it. Yeah.
Did y'all put an extra one in?
Huh?
Did y'all put another one in?
No.
Did it come like this?
It's the truck.
I've never seen one with that many seats in it.
What you say? It's my boss.
I said I've never seen one with that many seats.
Oh,
in
really?
It. Yeah. That's why I was asking if you put an extra one in.
No, it's the same. Like this.
Okay.
I was hoping to see.
You know what you got, right?
Yeah,
You know what you got here, right? He's hauling these people for money, is what he's doing. But sometimes they commingle dope. And
No. But
he,
you see that squad at the back of the
there's 8 people in there.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that. They put an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah. So he's getting paid to haul these people, probably to Maryland, I would say.
All right, so that is footage that I hadn't seen before, and that is footage of that is when they had detained or arrested they let him go. So that is body cam footage of oh my gosh, what is his name? Kilmar Abrego Garcia. That is footage of him when they busted him with 8 people that he was moving across state lines. So this is the person who they are letting back on the streets. So why? I have my hunches, and I think that it has a lot more to do with, you guys don't have, for those of you who haven't followed me, I've covered Operation Gladio. I've covered the deep networks of the CIA and how they work. And they'll have people that are on their payroll that work for them that move product, whether it be drugs, whether it be human beings. They get paid a lot of money to move them across state lines. So if he was arrested, he probably has a lot of information on a lot of people. So they don't want him somewhere where he could be talking and want to make a deal. That's my assumption. That's my assumption, knowing what I know. He's a piece of crap. He deserves to be behind bars. Okay, so we are going to move along. Do we have any questions on that story? I'm sure most of you have heard who he is. I just wanted you guys to know who he is. In case you didn't. This is what the whole, this nice guy, he's just so nice. I don't know why they want to send him back to his country. He's just, he shouldn't be here. Oh my gosh. I had this, Aaron, I made a comment on that exact same thing today, that during Operation Paperclip, that we shouldn't have brought so many soldiers over. I don't know if that word I can say on YouTube. We'll just say after World War II, the party that supposedly lost that war from Germany. It was called the OSS. They brought them in they smuggled them out before the end of World War II. They brought them through the Vatican. The Vatican gave them new identification, new papers, new IDs, whatever. And then they dispersed them throughout the globe, most of them going to South America, Argentina, and then over into the United States, the UK, you name it. They just divvied up all these scientists, all these doctors. So when they had the Nuremberg trials, they didn't really, the Nuremberg trials were for show. Someone had made a comment that the scary thing with the doctors and all the psychological tests that they did during the Nuremberg trials, that they were normal people, that they were just following orders, they were just doing their job, whatever. But were they really doing psychological testing on the ones that they got out of that country and over here? Why are most of the people who traffic human beings garbage drivers? Well, for one, they probably can't read English because a lot of them are MS-13 gang members. So they probably can't read the street signs, and they are used to living above the law. He just got let go. The Garcia just literally got let go. He had his windows were tinted too dark. He had 8 passengers that had nothing to do with him. Right? They let him go. Van Braun for NASA, but placing them in intelligence. Okay. Aaron, don't make me get into you're going to make me go down the rabbit hole of people who they brought over, the OSS brought over when they created the CIA. Is it Swarkovsky? How do I say his name? Is it Korzeny? Oh my gosh. Okay. So what they did is they took these soldiers from Germany and they put them in U.S. military officers' clothing, brought them into the United States, and made them part of the CIA. If you guys ever want me to go down that, I'm actually going to probably cover that topic again because I'm a lot of the Operation Gladio never went away. They just give it a different name in every single country. So it was the Color Revolution. It was Operation Condor in South America. It was Gladio in Europe. And so every single country has its same name, but it's the same MO. It's the same strategies that they do where they train them in terror attacks. They train them in espionage. They train them in propaganda. So the ways that they do that is wild and it's crazy, but the patterns don't change. It's just like with the J6, how they were infiltrated with some Antifa, or they had FBI, or they had plainclothes, or they had CIA assets that, were there to cause agitation in the crowd. So you think of Black Lives Matter. You had the same thing happening there when they were going and causing all the chaos and ruckus in the streets. You had the Palestine-Israel protests at all the colleges. They just happened to have the same tents, the same signage, the same everything. That is not natural. So they're trained in those tactics. They are trained to place pamphlets. They're trained to spread propaganda, and it's all to sway a populace to think in a certain way so that they can put certain leaders in a position of power, so that because the globalist agenda relies on people being in a certain position of power in order to, for their agenda to work. 9, how many did they employ Germans into U.S. agents? 9. Yeah, they're everywhere. I mean, and if you start paying attention, you start seeing it. I mean, the fact that after January 6th, you had people who were there protesting that were debanked, they were deplatformed, they were depersoned, which is exactly the Phoenix program that they did in Vietnam. Theirs was different because instead of they depersoned them with their life, here they depersoned them with banking, which is pretty much the same thing. They're isolated. They don't have any options. They can't pay their mortgage. They can't pay their rent. They can't feed their kids. So it's the same level of garbage. I need to lift this up just a little bit. I feel like I'm leaning over. Thought to myself when I was 11, whoever is in control of knowledge and intelligence whoever is in control of the narrative rules the world. And I get lots of flack when I speak on certain things because they're like, well, I've studied history going clear back to BC, before Christ. And I'm like, who wrote the history books? The victors always write our history books. So whoever's writing the history books, whoever is teaching the kids is controlling the narrative. So yeah, that's where we're at. And we got off on that tangent because I was talking about the CIA and the FBI, but that's okay because that's going to go right along with some of our other topics tonight. So this was one of this might be one that I actually have media for you guys. Nope, still. I have a lot of news stories. I started bookmarking them. And I was like, yeah, that's important to talk about. That's important to talk about. And then I went through my bookmarks and I was like, which ones should I cut out? And I'm like, all of these stories are important enough for us to talk about. So we're going to power through all of them. Some we're going to spend more time on. What's up, Singland? I haven't seen you in forever and a day. Hope you are well. Did I paste that right? I don't know if I copied it. Hold on. It might be from him as well, maybe. Thank you. Neurodivergent, you're always doing such an amazing job making sure that people are aware. All right, so I didn't do any deep dive into this story, so I'll see if there's any follow-up with it. So it was breaking U.S. Border Patrol agents. Oh, I don't think there's a video with this, so let's share this on the screen as I read it. All right. So U.S. Border Patrol, let's see what day that was. That was December 11th, guys. So it's the 15th today. So that was midweek. U.S. Border Patrol agents in Starr County, Texas, have just been involved in a shooting while trying to apprehend a suspect per KRGV. Multiple law enforcement agencies are responding. Pray for these border agents. According to Starr County Sheriff, a struggle took place prior to shooting. No words of injuries. Let's see. It is Starr County, Texas. I'm just going to put a search in here and see if I can't find out some more information before we bury this story. So here we go. Starr. That didn't work. Starr County, Texas. No, that's Starr County, Texas. Border agent. All right. So, okay. So let me just share this. We'll share this tab instead. Let's see. Is that up on the screen? Yep. Okay. So we have a fatal shooting involved a U.S. Border Patrol agent occurred on Thursday, December 11th, near the Rio Grande Riverbank on Midway Road in Starr County, Texas, between Rio Grande City and Roma. According to multiple sources, the incident began when Border Patrol agents, specifically from the Special Operations Detachment, attempted to intercept smugglers transporting narcotics across the river from Mexico. A struggle ensued, during which a Border Patrol agent fired their weapon in self-defense after being assaulted by a suspect. The suspect, described as being in the country illegally, shocker, was shot and later pronounced dead at Starr County Memorial Hospital. The Texas Department of Public Safety, DPS, confirmed the officer involved shooting and stated that the Texas Rangers, DPS, primary criminal investigative branch, are leading the investigation. The investigation remains active and ongoing with no further details released at this time. The Starr County Sheriff's Office confirmed that deputies assisted the Border Patrol and secured the scene, urging the public to avoid the area. Initially, reports indicated the Border Patrol agent involved was unharmed, but on Saturday, December 13th, DPS confirmed that the agent sustained injuries during the incident, though they were not life-threatening. The exact number of agents involved and the identity of the deceased suspect have not been disclosed. All right, so there is your update for that. This is perfect. I'm getting abreast of all of these topics as well, because these stories release and there's hardly ever any follow-up. It just is like, oh, well, that's done. So Tyler Robinson, the alleged assassination of Charlie Kirk. We're going to go through this one. So guys, grab your popcorn. Not really. I have stayed away from this topic very so intentionally, because this has become one of the most toxic, one of the most divisive things on the internet. And I'm not about divisiveness, and I'm not about putting information out without having the facts. If I can't prove something, I'm not going to try to figure. I'm not going to. It just, things don't add up, and it's because I am from Utah. I did go down that night, right? I was actually interviewing Nick Bryant, who wrote The Franklin Scandal, and he is a big proponent for justice for the Epstein victims. And I had him scheduled on at 1:00. The shooting happened around 12:30, I believe, my time, between 12:30 and 1 my time. And so I had to finish an interview knowing that this had happened. So as soon as the interview had finished, I did drive down to Utah Valley University. I did I waited outside for quite a while, just kind of watched what was going on, if they'd apprehended anybody. I did take video outside of the college. So went across, took video of all the cars in the parking lot. I took a bunch of pictures on the exterior, and I ended up going to the memorial service, which was at the Timpanogos Regional Medical Hospital there in Orem, Utah. And I live streamed the event that night. Hi, Morsk. I live streamed the memorial, and I kind of regret I did get some images of cars leaving. I didn't realize that people were still there and agents were still there at the time, because the hospital was closed and they were diverting people. So I did live stream the memorial and the people that were there. I haven't posted it online anywhere. I haven't been trying to make any money off of Charlie Kirk because it's just tragic. So this topic I've stayed away from because I don't know. Kids lost their father. A wife is widowed. I have no evidence if she was involved or not involved. I can't read anybody's minds. I can't say what's grief or what's not grief. I'm just not good enough at that. And this is one of those stories where I don't want to be wrong about it. I don't like a lot of things that are going on with it, but I am going to talk about the suspect. The suspect to me is fair game. The rest of it I stayed away from. I didn't realize how absolutely perfectly amazing that Charlie Kirk was. I had no clue. Like, I didn't have a clue that my son watched him every day, to the point where he knew exactly what time he went on. And he's like, Mom, yeah, you need to watch this guy, Charlie Kirk. I listen to him every day. And this was this last summer before he was assassinated. I was like, that's really cool that my son has someone to look up to. And then I started going through some of his videos and his clips because I didn't really follow him that closely. I knew who he was. But he made a difference in my son's life. And so there's a hole there. But the story of the trial, I will cover stuff like that. Because I have the ability to be objective. I want the truth. All I want is for the truth to come out. And I don't want to sit and watch all these different content creators try to measure and see whose dick's bigger at the end of the day. Like, that's just really getting old to me. There are more good people in the world. You're 100% correct. Okay, so I already have this article pulled up. So let's go. I'm talking to you guys and I'm forgetting what I'm doing. So this article originally started out was, we were told that Tyler, so he went, I think it was Friday, Tyler Robinson went before the judges. He appeared in person. They did live broadcast out the hearings, which I didn't do it. There's so many other lawyers that have such better takes than I do. So I'll let them cover that part of it. In the future, I'll probably cover it. They for now have cameras in the courtroom. Hopefully they're going to continue. They kept showing us shackles, whatnot. Anyway, if you guys remember the initial narrative or the initial story that was put out there, is that Tyler Robinson was afraid that the people were saying that the image or the picture that was being put out there looked like him, went to his parents, and he was afraid that they would raid his house and that he would be taken out by shooting. So they arranged a peaceful transfer over to the jail and he turned himself in. However, the footage from his parents turning him in just happens to not be preserved. It's missing. The footage is missing. So I forgot that I'm going to preface this story first with, it's not Benny Johnson. Who is it? Is this, okay, I'll tell you who this guy's name is after I put him on screen because I'll remember his name as soon as he goes up. And this is one that I do have pre-clipped. It's 53 seconds long. Oh my gosh, why am I having a brain fart on his name? It's not Benny Johnson. Who was the other one that's part of TPUSA? Okay, you guys, we'll figure it out.
So here's my question for people who don't think that Tyler Robinson murdered Charlie Kirk. And it's really simple. If you don't think that he murdered Charlie Kirk, then why haven't his parents come out and said anything? Because they turned him in. It wasn't the FBI. It wasn't Kash Patel. It wasn't Dan Bongino. It wasn't Utah law enforcement. It was his parents. So his parents turned him in. They're the ones who identified him. They're the ones who identified the gun. And if you're so sure that it wasn't Tyler Robinson, why do you think his parents haven't said anything? Notice nobody ever answers this question. And by the way, if you're also so sure, then why don't you go and ask his parents yourself? I haven't seen anyone even try to do this. Kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, so that is really weird, don't you guys think? Okay, so we have this article right here. And this was from, I think, Sarah Luna on X. Why is this so, don't want that so low. Hold on, I'm going to edit this layout real quick. I think that's as tall as I can get it. All right, guess that's as big as it'll let me get it. So Sarah Luna's put it out there and has been bringing forth evidence that they've lost the footage. So we don't really know if Tyler Robinson turned himself in. I mean, he turned himself in, but did his parents escort him? Who escorted him? How did he get there? There's a lot of unknowns. And if they would have preserved the footage, then we would know. So alleged Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson negotiated gentle surrender, was afraid of being shot, according to the sheriff. Let's see. Here's a Fox News clip. Let's just play this. Hopefully it'll play. Am I sharing the screen? Yeah. I don't know if it's going to play. Let's see if we close a couple windows, if it will. All right, that's not going to play, so we're going to push pause and we're going to go right past it. Oh, here we go.
So, Utah prosecutors revealing a potential motive laid out in text messages from the suspected Charlie Kirk assassin to his roommate before a chilling confession.
Roommate, you weren't the one who did it, right? Robinson, I am. I'm sorry. Roommate, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out.
So former FBI supervisor agent Jack Jupin joins us now. Jack, thanks so much for joining the program. So now we have potentially two confessions. We got what he confessed to his parents. They're going to be called in as witnesses. And then what he confessed to his lover/roommate.
Yes.
Does this close the case in a sense of the mountain of evidence against him?
Yeah, and that's not even including so far the DNA.
Right.
Which was also located, the surveillance footage also located, and also what he posted online, which is another confession in my mind as well. So, as one of your prior guests said, a DOJ attorney, the evidence here is devastating. It's overwhelming, actually. What I would look to see is potentially his defense attorneys trying to work out a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. But with that said, the government doesn't have to accept it. So we're going to see a little negotiating and playing going back and forth over these court dates.
As it relates to the negotiation, I look at the tech exchange with his roommate/lover and the destruction of evidence that they said, and they got a photo of it. Is this assassin such a big fish that they're willing to let that go?
I don't think so. I mean, as we've seen,
You don't think so?
They're not going to let it go. They're not going to let it go. They're going to go after this guy with the full weight of the government, the U.S. government, the state government. They're going to go after this kid, and they're not going to show him too much leniency. I mean, this event of this assassination has gone worldwide. It's not even in the United States. It's all over. You see it in England. You see it in the Netherlands. So a lot of people are looking at this and to see how they handle it in Utah.
Roger that. I want to talk about big picture because we're seeing political violence all over the place. We even got Luigi Mangione and people celebrating because of what he stood for. I found this interesting in this new poll, this new study, when it comes to the violence, if it's necessary or okay against political opponents. Elon Musk, 31% of all respondents said it's okay. 50% of the left-wing respondents said it was okay. We dropped down to Donald Trump. 38% of all respondents said it's okay. When it came to the left-wing, 56% of the left-wing respondents said it was okay. Are you surprised by this?
No, I'm not actually surprised. We saw this after 9/11. We saw the radicalization of people online. In that case, it was Al-Qaeda. Right. And we had investigated many kids, and they were kids that were getting radicalized online. And we took confessions of people saying, you know, where did you get into this? And they got online and did it. So we're seeing the same thing now, but in a different form. Right. Now we're seeing domestic hate because of political rivalries or just difference of opinions.
How do you break that up today? Back then, the technology wasn't as secure. And you can go in the chat and you have people undercover inside of the agencies.
Yes.
But now everything is so encrypted. And then the tech companies aren't working with this. They won't release it. So how do you break it up?
It's difficult to break up. You're absolutely right. You know, we need the help of the public. You need the help of somebody on the inside. That's how we make our cases, with inside information from informants, cooperating witnesses, or the general public. And that's the kind of thing that, you know, many people saw this individual's postings. Many did. And some of them even mentioned September 10th, back in August.
Is that criminal to not report that?
You know, technically it's not criminal, depending on where you are and what you knew. Now, if you aided, abetted him and assisted him in any way, yeah, that's going to be criminal.
Well, yeah, I'm not really too impressed with that. I want to go back to that story. All right, so more details have emerged about how alleged Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson was turned over to police while the manhunt for a suspect ensued. Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby said at a news conference Wednesday he received a call from former law enforcement friend telling him Robinson, 22, was the shooter. Robinson reportedly had suicidal thoughts, but was convinced by his parents not to harm himself. Brooksby said Robinson knew he would be caught and was afraid of a SWAT raid on his home. He was also afraid of being shot by police, the sheriff said. So, okay, I want you to look. I don't know. Like his hair looks really dark there. And then when I saw him in court, it looks really light. Tyler knew it was just inevitable with all the law enforcement pressure that his picture in the news, the gun on the news, he said, he knew it was inevitable that he was going to be caught. According to Brooksby, the call from his friend came in at 8:02 p.m. Thursday. I could tell his voice was kind of shaky, so my first thought is, who died? He said, like, who's he going to tell me that died? And then I couldn't fathom what actually came out of his mouth. So he said, hey, I know who Charlie Kirk's shooter is. I know the family through religious association, and he's in Washington County now, and we're working to get him to come in voluntary. Brooksby said, excuse me. During the phone call, some information was provided about Tyler potentially having some suicidal ideation and was en route to a remote part of Washington County. The parents convinced him not to do that and conveyed that they would stand by him and help him surrender peacefully. So that part of the story just really, it just doesn't add up, okay? It's almost like they're positioning for himself to do an Epstein. And that's just the way I see it. I could be completely wrong. Of course, Neurodivergent One suggested my channel. He's so amazing. Thank you for being here, Third Railify. Pleasure having you here in the chat. Robinson asked for a peaceful, gentle surrender, a condition to which the sheriff agreed to in order to get him to turn himself in. He was described as quiet and somber upon apprehension. So that's his, I guess, unaliving vest. Tyler Robinson appears virtually in Utah court on September 16th, 2025 to face charges. Brooksby's office did not question Robinson while he waited for the lead investigator to arrive. Speaking about Robinson's family and his roommate and lover, Lance Twigg, who I don't know if you guys, oh, he's your mod? Yay. Yeah, he's my mod as well. I used to be a lot more consistent with my streams. I'm going to get back to that. Speaking about Robinson's family, his roommate and lover, Lance Twigg, which I don't know if you guys know this, but Lance Twigg has just disappeared. Very interesting. The sheriff said they need to lay low for a long time, but did not elaborate further. Brooksby told Fox News earlier in the day that Twigg is in a safe space very far away from St. George, the Utah town where the pair lived. So he just happened to need to get away from cameras, to get away from people maybe punching holes in his story, maybe. He added that law enforcement officials from outside of his agency are talking to Twigg associates. According to Brooksby, there is a Washington County Sheriff's deputy with the last name Robinson who is not related to the shooter, as was initially rumored. He asked the media to make the point clear because the unrelated Robinson continues to be harassed. Robinson's lover, who is transgender, lived in a townhouse with him for about a year, according to relatives. But then how come he was in his parents' basement? Please make this make sense. He hates conservatives and Christians, the relative said. He hated us. He was not raised that way, but he, over the years, has become really detached and been radicalized. It's possible for him to become radicalized. And I'll give you a follow. Just give me just a second since I'm done with this, and I'll follow you right back there. He obviously gotten progressively worse. All right, I'm not going to read all of this article. This is all stuff I've got. It looks like my picture. I think I took. Yeah, so most of you guys know all that was in his article anyway. I'm struggling with this one because I just think that there's a lot of holes. And I think it was Aaron. Let's see. Yeah, I've seen the gunshot analysis videos. I've seen all of that stuff of how it's nearly impossible for it to be a 30-06. I come from a family of hunters. We have those kinds of guns, and they don't go in clean. They destroy, they demolish. So I'm having a hard time with that narrative. There was some video. I don't know. Did any of you guys see the video clip of the person that was spotted with a handgun? Have you guys seen that video? I wonder if I can find it on my timeline. Oh, I'm trying to think. I should have bookmarked that. Why did I not? Let me look at my bookmarks real quick. It might be bookmarked. It's very possible that it's bookmarked. Give me 3 seconds. I bookmark a lot of things. But whether it's in a folder or not is a different story. Because I'm that weird person that has everything bookmarked in a folder with names on it. So it's really easy to find. All right, let me just look. Because I found it, I think Ian Carroll, did Ian Carroll post it? Let's just scroll down. I'll have all of my, holy crap. I have a lot of, I think I have 100 folders. I have issues. Oh, that was the article I replied to. Was that after the Nuremberg trials, one of the most unsettling conclusions did not come from the courtroom, but from the psychiatrist tasked with evaluating the defendants. I wanted to read that. I'm not going to scroll too far looking for it. But like I said, I didn't want to get too deep into the woods with this story in particular. I more or less want to just touch on these stories, and then you guys can kind of do your own research. I can research the crap out of it. I go into these rooms. I listen all the time. Where is this? Oh my gosh, I have some good stories in here. Good morning. All right, I'm not going to spend too much time. I can pull it up another time. But there was this girl who had footage and she didn't really think anything of it, didn't really look at it, didn't post it. And in Fast Motion, you can't really see anything, but it looked like a female, blonde, and she was backing up. She was avoiding getting facial recognition. You could see side profile. I swear I took screenshots of this. I swear I have this saved somewhere. Maybe it's saved on one of my phones. I usually save all of the stuff that comes across. But anyway, it looked like she had a handgun. So at the end of the day, guys, Charlie Kirk's trial is in Utah. I live in Utah. I am going to see about getting a press pass so I can go down there, do some live reporting, real time, getting some notes, getting a feel for everything. I don't know. Okay, this is tinfoil hat Sally putting her tinfoil hat on. I don't see any way, knowing what I know, that he acted alone. I don't think that he coordinated all this. I don't think that he just got mad and decided to do these things. Could he have been radicalized? Sure. I think that it's possible that he could have been radicalized, that type of thing does happen. I'm just not, I need more evidence. I listen to Candace Owens. I listen to people on the other side. And at the end of the day, we lost a great man. But I just want to let you guys know that there's the fact that they don't have the footage from when he turned himself in seems like a pretty big deal. That's a huge deal. And maybe it's going to come out in Discovery. Maybe they're just trying to keep it from people. I don't know. Yeah, this was a professional job. I like I said, I drove down there. Loved tinfoil. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I'll be honest. I bite my tongue. I bite my tongue with this story because it's so divisive. And any person that questions the official narrative is attacked endlessly. And I have been attacked enough, especially on X, that I just don't have the energy anymore for it all. I do. And I'm getting brave to where I'm just going to start speaking my mind. If you don't like it, too bad. Is Candace Owens right about everything she says? No. Does she say some truths? Yes. Does Nick Fuentes have some really good things behind him? Yes. Do I like everything he says? No. But his message is still what the youth are thinking. And if we don't take the time to listen to the Tuckers, the Candace Owens, and the Nick Fuenteses of the world, we're missing out on information that is relevant. Whether we like it or not, Nick Fuentes isn't going away. Young kids listen to him. He gets it. They are feeling a certain way. They feel like they got duped into going to college. Now they have debt. They're paying 17% interest on their college loans. They can't get a job. The jobs are going to foreigners, skilled workers from India that are better at programming than they are, right? So, and they're like, oh, I can't believe you don't listen. You listen to him. That they hate Israel. They hate Israel. And that's the only thing that people can stick to instead of what is the message? What is the message they're trying to say? Not everyone is all truthful, and not anyone is tells all lies. There's good and there's bad in everyone. And if you don't take the time to listen to it all and realize that you're smart, and your gut will usually tell you when you're getting something wrong. Like my gut, if I'm paying attention, it will tell me when there is something wrong. And it's usually not wrong when I listen to it. So that is our little meter there. Okay, I think we're finally, I'm going to have to start leading with my important stories the first of the night. My brain starts to go, what? Yeah, I remember the first guy that they arrested. That's what I'm just saying. Everything just seems so weird. The guy that they first arrested at the Charlie Kirk thing just happened to be at 9/11. There's a lot of things that don't add up. And Candace Owens has gotten a lot of things wrong. I personally know Phil Lyman. I've met him. I've met his wife. I met the lieutenant governor who ran with him. And he's a good person. And she was trying to say that he and his family were somehow involved in it. And I don't vouch for a lot of people, but I vouch for him 100%. All right. So now we're getting into the main story, which means this is going to be our last story of the night, guys. So if you guys have not done so already, make sure that you're hitting that thumbs up. Make sure you're hitting the likes, leaving comments, sharing this off platform through a text message or through some other means, because that does help push it out the algorithm. I am trying to, I'm going to be more consistent. I'm going to try to build my live streaming. I needed to gain some confidence and we're not going to get all into that, but I'm excited to be back. I have a lot in my brain that I want to share with you guys. So it's coming. So I think was it Wednesday night? I can't remember. Everything seems to blend together. So I did the child trafficking on Tuesday. Sunday night I played chess. So whatever night that I covered, January 6th pipe bomber, and I read 3 articles to you guys. Most of you guys were here for that. And if not, guys, go back and watch my last live stream, because coming up to the conclusion as to how did they come up with Shani Kirkhoff? How did they come up with how did they find her? They didn't go out looking for Shani Kirkhoff, who is a female. She is an ex-soccer player. I think she either played pro or semi-pro until she had a knee injury. What they were doing is we had Steve Baker. What he was doing is he was looking to see if they were using crowd agitation devices. So the military has crowd agitation devices. They've used them in other countries. You guys have heard of Havana syndrome. So that is a real thing, Havana syndrome. What they were doing, the Blaze Media, was going through all kinds of footage. They were combing all the CCTV. They were trying to see how did everything unfold that day. And so they were trying to see what caused the crowd to get upset. So you have 2 things happening simultaneously. You have the pipe bomb being planted the night before. And then you have it being found within less than 12 minutes or under 11 minutes. I think it was just under 12 minutes. So they're able to find and locate this bomb within 12 minutes of it being called in over the radio. And so the pipe bomb was found at 1:09 p.m. Eastern time. So that's when the pipe bomb was found. When the officers were deployed, they went right to where the bomb was. They were able to locate it within 12 minutes. Mind you, when they found it, they didn't cordon off the area. They didn't evacuate people. They didn't try to get any type of control of anything. They had bystanders walking by. You had Kamala Harris driving by in her motorcade. It wasn't a big deal. There was no big deal. When they found it, there was a kitchen timer. A kitchen timer was how it was supposed to go off. It was set for 60 minutes, and it was still stuck at 60 minutes still. From everyone from the FBI said that it was a dummy bomb, that it was a practice bomb. That's what they use for practice. So that's why there was no panic. Okay, so that's at 1:09 p.m. And if you go to the Capitol, you have people gathering outside. They're holding their flags. Some people are waving their middle finger, but they're not running. They're not charging. They're not screaming. And then you have at 1:11 p.m., you have what are called less than lethal officers, right? The less than lethal unit. They start going up and they're gathering around slowly one by one. They're getting into place to shoot less than lethal rounds into the crowd. And they're shooting them from up above. Well, Shawnee Kirkhoff is in charge of training the less than lethal force, right? So she trains the Capitol Police on less than lethal force. So she knows exactly how she's supposed to use it. You're supposed to aim for the ground, so it may ricochet, hit them in the shin. It might cause some pain, and it causes them to get under control from this type of method, right? So she's trained in this. That's what you're supposed to, and you're not supposed to shoot from above, and you're not supposed to shoot into a crowd because lots of things can go wrong when you're shooting into a nice little tight compact crowd. You've got people shooting flags. So they're getting in position. So pipe bomb found at 1:09. They're starting to stage at 1:11. I think it took them 10 to 15 minutes to get in position. And then they started firing into the crowd. And they weren't aiming at the ground. Oh, you're not supposed to aim at the groin, right? Because you have the carotid artery there. And also, obviously, men have, their private parts there that can cause some serious damage. So you're supposed to do the waist down and avoid the groin area. And when you watch the video, which I showed 20 minutes of it, the whole entire staging, when they started doing less than lethal force. They were aiming, one bullet went right past the eyeball, barely missed it. If it would have hit the eyeball, they could have lost their life. Now, mind you, this company is being sued. One of the companies is being sued because these less than lethal rounds can penetrate glass. If they can penetrate glass, they can penetrate other things, right? So they're aiming. There's one that went right past their head. They're aiming. One person was shot in the chest. And if you get hit hard enough in the chest, it can cause arrhythmia. It can cause your heartbeat to get off rhythm. It can cause heart attacks. It can cause other issues. There was a guy that was shot right through the face. And when these people started seeing each other with bloody faces, people with bloody fingers, and it's all over the ground, then the crowd starts getting agitated. They start getting pissed off. That's when they start going after police officers, right? So Steve Baker was going through this footage. He was trying to see what got the crowd riled up. And in that process, they were noticing this girl who is Shawnee Kirkhoff. She's 5'7". She's got an athletic build. And they're like, the pipe bomber is 5'7". So they put out an article talking about the crowd agitation. They put out the video footage and their findings, and they had all kinds of people going through the crowd. And, they're like, who is this officer? We want all the CCTV footage of her while she's on the grounds. So they get all of that. They go through the footage and they're like, and they have a technology called what's gait analysis. Everyone's trying to say, oh, gait analysis is fake. It's not accurate. It's not this, it's not that. But what people don't talk about is that our military uses gait analysis to confirm someone in the Middle East in order to take them out through drone strike. So if it's good enough for our military to identify someone to take their life, then how is it not accurate for this type of thing? So they get this footage, and they use the gait analysis, and they get they took all kinds. They got pictures from her college days. They got video footage from her competing in soccer, and they are 94 to 90% match that Shani Kirkhoff is their person. So they weren't going looking for the person that planted the pipe bombs. And that's the key thing there is they're like, oh my gosh, why we didn't even think about this. And another thing you have to keep in mind also is that after January 6th, they did a data dump of all of the cell towers that were nearby because your cell phone's going to ping. They got credit card information. They got banking information. They debanked people. So within 7 days, they were able to identify people by their ears, by all kinds of things through their cell phone data dumps, through their banking records, through all kinds of things. So that is how they were able to, within 7 days, they were able to locate and start arresting people. Okay. So keep that in mind. But what they were not allowed to do is I can't remember the name of the system, but it's what the police officers use. It's like a dedicated, I don't know if it's a line. They have a special phone that if there's a lot of usage going on in the area, right? You lose bandwidth, you have poor signal, yada, yada, yada. So they kind of have their own little designated line. I don't think it's Stingray. I don't think that's what it's called. But anyway, so anyone that used that is it Signet? No, it's not Signet. Use that. They did not do a data dump on Capitol Police officers or anyone that was using that particular cell phone, right? So think about that. Why were they not allowed to do a data dump of the Capitol Police? Who knows? Maybe it was an inside job. Maybe it was set up, right? So they didn't do a data dump of any of that stuff for geolocation, because not just for their actual messages, but for geolocation purposes. So just keep that in mind. And so you have a Kyle Seraphin, who is a FBI whistleblower as well. And he was put on the pipe bomber. He was on surveillance they had person of interest 1, person of interest 2, and 3. Person of interest 2 and 3 which is who he was surveilling sitting outside. It was either 2 days or 3 days. He was they're like, oh, no, never mind. We don't need you to be here. After 2 days, that's unheard of with what he's doing, whatever, not with the FBI anymore, kind of puts it in the back of his head, right? Well, Shani Kirkhoff happened to live right next door to person of interest 2 and 3, right? So the Blaze Media broke this story. They broke this story, and then, and there's been so much backlash from Kash Patel, from Bongino, from Kelly. What is Kelly's last name? Julie Kelly, from Julie Kelly, and all kinds of people that were supporting these people that were wrongfully terminated for being whistleblowers during the Biden administration, have been going after them nonstop, telling them they're stupid, they're this, they're that, right? So, okay, I'm getting to the meat and potatoes of this story. So this whole thing has been coming out. They're like, yes, the FBI is going to look into this. They're going to see that it's an inside job. But think of the implications. If the FBI is involved in covering up because they pulled them off of person of interest 2 and 3, that implicates a cover-up, which means it had to go at the highest levels of the FBI, which Ray was in charge at the time. And 6 months after the January 6th Fedsurrection, Shawnee Kirkhoff was relocated for a lateral move with a different 3-letter agency, which was, the CIA. It was a lateral move. It wasn't a promotion. So when they went to go ask, let's back up in this story just a little bit. So Blaze Media goes through the CCTV footage. They're asking, who's this person? Who's this person? So they find out who she is. They get the footage. They started analyzing it. And they're like, well, who is she? Where is she? Can we talk to her? And they can't talk to her. All of her social media has been deleted. She quit talking to all of her old friends. All of that stuff went bye-bye, right? So kind of like relocate, never heard, never seen from again. So they can't talk to her. Supposedly she was going to sue for slander, supposedly. But anyway, that is her. That is the person that they said. So they thought, so it's going to implicate CIA, it's going to implicate FBI, and it would probably go all the way up to Pelosi and to Ray and to Biden. It's like, that is my opinion based off of the information that I have. So you guys can do your own research. So back to this story. So the first story when they were doing the crowd control, looking to see if there was something that was placed there, to see, what was someone trying to agitate the crowd? What got the January 6th people so agitated? Because they didn't go there with weapons. Were there bad actors in the mix? Yes, we know there was 140 something plainclothes, FBI, whether it be CIA assets, whatever. We don't know the total number of people that were infiltrated, that were placed into the crowd. And so why was this crowd getting so agitated? And they wanted to know what was going on, because these people didn't bring weapons. Were there people who were stupid and broke windows and did things they weren't supposed to? Yes. Those people are stupid. There's consequences for their actions. Were there people that did things? Yeah, they should all, those who did wrong should have consequences. But my thing is, how many of them were entrapped? How many were entrapped? Does the entrapment law go into effect that even though they were stupid and went along, but someone got them to go along? At the end of the day, you should know better. If you were a hothead, maybe you probably should have stayed home. But I'm not judging. I wasn't there. I don't know these people. I have zero judgment. I have grown to love a lot of these people. I've heard so many of their stories. Lives destroyed. Houses lost. People split up. People got divorced. I mean, they ruined people's lives with what they did. And it is extremely, extremely sad. So let's back up. Let's see if I can get back on track where I was before I went down that rabbit hole. So that's what they were doing. So that story dropped on November 4th. So that was a Tuesday. That was the same day that they had the elections in New York City, the big election there. So that was the crowd agitation. Couple weeks later, the second story drops where they this looks like a Shawnee Kirkhoff. They waited. They were talking with lawyers. They did, they were making sure they had all their ducks in a row. They were making sure that they had all of the evidence behind them before they put this story out, right? Because this is a huge story and you don't want to slander people. They were very, very careful. So they're thinking, oh, the people are going to take this seriously. Oh no, what did they do instead? They find Brian Cole. I should find a picture of Brian Cole. Let's get a picture of Brian Cole so that you know who I'm talking about, because I'm talking about this kid and I don't have his picture up here. Give me 3 seconds. So we have Brian Cole. He is about the same height. He is a Black autistic kid. He is very introverted. Okay. He's very, very, very introverted. Oh, this wouldn't be good. We'll bring this over to this page here, and I can zoom in on this picture. And it's quite interesting because they don't show his full body in this picture that they put out. I'll find one with his full body. There, I have stuff for that in just a second. Okay. All right, so this is Brian Cole. He's a Black autistic kid that even when they were doing his interrogation, he had earbuds in. So if you know anyone that's autistic, they could call them not neurodivergent. Thank you, neurodivergent. They sounds can irritate them. They can cause them to get really agitated, really irritated. They're saying that he purchased all of these items starting clear back in 2019. Anyway, long story short, this ain't the kid. And I'm going to tell you that this ain't the kid. And so you have Steve Friend and you have Kyle Seraphin, who's on a podcast. And they know they have so much evidence with this story that. So Steve Friend was supposed to go back to the FBI 100 days ago. They had a lawyer. His lawyer, I might have to back up. I might have to show you a clip first so that you guys will have the context of this. So, see, today's Sunday. So a Friday, not this last Friday, but so 9 days ago, Steve Friend was on Kyle Seraphin's podcast on a Friday. He did his little disclaimer. Nothing is classified. This is all public information. And they had a conversation about Brian Cole and how let's just play the video. I'm going to try to summarize what he said and I'm going to screw it up. So what I'll do is I'll put it on the screen. So give me just 3 seconds. Remove this from the stage. So this is Steve Friend, who's on Kyle Seraphin. So they put all this data together, and then we get this arrest of this kid. And there's so much evidence that points other ways.
Now, if there are people back there who are Marilyn Melky style at the FBI, worried about what our foreign adversaries might think if it came to light that the FBI was actually involved in a Reichstag fire modern day, and they had to cover it up, and I don't care what the justification is, we're worried Marilyn Melky style. Maybe this guy was this Cole character was a entrapment playbook person who you already had on the hook, and what does it matter what sort of case we put him in, this one or the other? Maybe he's Chester the molester pedophile who you've got on a kiddie porn case, and you said, hey, why don't you just plead guilty to this one because the time will go easier for you in prison as a WMD guy rather than a pedophile. Or maybe you're in a position of executive leadership and you're just so damn thirsty to get a win for dad so that the president will be proud of you finally and your fans will return and have devotion to you. Whatever the motivation is. If you are doing another put-up job on this guy, and I think we spelled out a pretty compelling case that this probably ain't the guy, then may God have mercy on your soul. And I'm going to end with this. I'm going to bring out my inner Commodus. You better pray to Gaia or Vishnu or whatever your maker is, that real Steve Friend is never in a position to be an instrument of God's wrath, because I will be merciful. I won't give you a trial and a hanging. I'll allow you to breathe every breath that your body will have for the rest of its natural life inside of a box. And then when it ultimately fades to black, that's when real wrath begins.
Okay, so I want you to think about that for just a second. So that's what he said on his show. And yeah, I have been watching all of the coverage, as much coverage as I possibly can. I've been going through threads. I've been back tracing all this. I've been seeing what everyone's been putting out there about this story. And I was a personal trainer for 18 years. I am pretty good at being able to look at someone's body and size it up, like proportionate wise, symmetrical wise. This guy's body does not match up to the body of this person right here. His legs are way too short and his arms are way too long. So Steve Friend on that podcast said those words. And he pretty much just says, if this is a put-up job, God have mercy on your soul. You better pray to whatever God you're praying to. He didn't list any names. And you said, you better pray that I am not within distance of this because I will get revenge. Not revenge, but he will be the instrument, right? You guys heard it. You heard what he said. So that's what was said. So the following Monday, he was brought into the office. Mind you, he's been 100 days. He was supposed to be reinstated. They got all the letters. Yeah, retribution, pretty much. He hasn't been paid still for, the 100 days. They've come to an agreement, supposed to go back to work, and he had it. So Monday afterwards, they call him into the office, no badge, no gun, no assignment. He's just supposed to go into the office and he's going to be there. Right. And that is pretty much to put a muzzle on him. So he's not going on podcasts. He's not talking about anything. So that was his punishment. Well, and I've been following all of this stuff all week long, that they have so much evidence, and a lot of it has not been released yet to the public, of what is out there. Here, I got to move this over here because I got to find this other article. Is this an article? Let's see. Let me see if this is an article first. I did put these in order. You would think that I would just go by the order that I have all of this stuff put up on here on. That would be the smart thing to do, since I went through all of the time and effort to make sure I did this. Because I was trying to make sure that I didn't leave anything out. Okay. So does this have the letter in it? I don't know if this has the letter. I hope it does. No, this doesn't have the letter. Okay. So what happens when they're going to let this guy know that he's been fired? They don't tell him first. I think they got a phone call, or they called Steve Baker to ask him for comment, I believe, is the way that happened. So FBI agent Steve Friend, who blew whistle on January 6th investigation. So Steve Friend blew the whistle, this is why he's gone, for this investigation specifically, after a veiled threat to Director Kash Patel. So you guys listen just now to what he just said. Okay, so tell me this. If Kash Patel isn't involved in any type of a cover-up, how is that a threat to him? Has anyone taken the time to think about that? He didn't list any names. He said, if you are covering this up and you're using this guy as a patsy pretty much, then God have mercy on your soul. And I hope I am the one who gets to do it, because, people are kind of sick of this shit. So a former FBI agent who was suspected under the Biden administration suspended under the, let me start over. All right. A former FBI agent who was suspended under the Biden administration and was reinstated under President Trump to much fanfare has been ousted again, the Post has learned. FBI whistleblower Steve Friend issued what was deemed to be a threat against Director Kash Patel on a podcast hosted by ex-FBI agent Kyle Seraphin last week, and that outburst helped cost him his job on Saturday, Bureau insiders told the Post. Friend gained fame for claiming he was wrongfully placed on leave by ex-FBI Director Chris Wray for exposing problems with the January 6th investigation that saw roughly 600 defendants prosecuted for the 2021 attack on the Capitol. He went on to become an author, media commentator, and one-time ally of Patel. FBI agent suspended in August 2022 and having resigned in February 2023, Friend returned to the FBI. He resigned in 2023? Okay. Friend returned to the FBI's payroll October 10th. However, he had not been performing duties at the FBI in Jacksonville, as he had not yet been cleared for a background check and issued. Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you this. They brought him back without a background check and sat him in an office while peddling a conspiracy theory that Patel falsely arrested alleged DC pipe bomber Brian Cole. So that's their famous word, conspiracy theory. That's what they want to push. They did that after JFK's assassination. Anyone that questioned the narrative, anyone that thought that they were telling lies, was called a conspiracy theorist. That's exactly when this term started being widely used. So anyone who questions anything or goes against that narrative, you are therefore a conspiracy theorist, which means you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You shouldn't be trusted. Let me repeat that sentence. While peddling a conspiracy theory that Patel falsely arrested alleged DC pipe bomber Brian Cole Jr. as part of an elaborate cover-up, Friend made disturbing remarks about bringing God's wrath to punish him. Okay, Not once did he use Kash Patel's name. I listened to this, and you know what? After I found out that he was fired, I went back and I listened to 1 hour of it, full context, to make sure I didn't hear that incorrectly. Not once did he say his name. All he said is, if you're covering this up, God have mercy on your soul. And I hope I am the one to do it. And yes, I'm paraphrasing right there. Oh, here you go. You better pray to Gaia or Vishnu or whatever your maker is, that real Steve Friend is never in a position to be an instrument of God's wrath, because I will be merciful. I won't give you a trial and a hanging, he told the Kyle Seraphin Show on December 5th. I'll allow you to breathe every breath that your body will have for the rest of its natural life inside of a box. And then when it ultimately fades to black, that's when real wrath begins. While Friend did not mention Patel by name, he alluded to the FBI director as the person who allegedly concocted the bogus cover-up. Nothing the person may have been in executive leadership, and made references to Hindu god Vishnu, likely not to Patel being raised Hindi. Okay, putting this out there, guys. He said, if you find out that you covered this up, if I find out that the word if is really important in the context of things. The video clipped and shared on X by retired FBI Supervisor Special Agent John Nance on December 8th raised alarm bells at the Bureau, which he said called Friend into his office to stand tall before the man. Friend has been required to report in person to FBI Jacksonville field office since Monday, a law enforcement source told the Post. And you know what? This is all to get back at Kyle Seraphin, in my opinion, because he's not letting this go. He's not going to let an innocent black autistic kid get railroaded by the FBI because they don't want to expose the FBI, the CIA, and other people for covering up the J6 story. The truth about J6 needs to come out. They have a new commission. Do you know that they're still not allowed to question the Capitol Police? There's people who they're not allowed to bring in and ask questions of. If you want the truth and full transparency, why are they not allowed to question the Capitol Police? Anyway, the hot rhetoric is just the latest outburst by Friend that runs afoul of FBI policy and bans speaking publicly about the Bureau's work without authorization, the Post has learned. Okay, you can't speak about the FBI? No, it goes against their code, like their FBI book, the code book, the book that you live by, or the guidebook, the guide that says, oh, you can't do this, you can't bring shame to the agency. Okay, well, they brought their own shame to the agency. Oh, I forgot to tell you that I think Saturday, right after that interview or that podcast with Kyle Seraphin on the Kyle Seraphin Show, his lawyer fired him. All right. Attorneys at Empower Oversight. Okay. This is a nonprofit. And they're a bunch of bullcrap, which won a settlement for Friend, securing his rehiring and years of back pay, fired Friend as a client the same day he went on the deranged rant. Okay. I don't see that as a deranged rant. I'm sorry, because I know what these people did to these prisoners of January 6th. I know what they did to them. So I don't see it that way. I don't think it's unjustified. According to a letter sent by a firm that Seraphin posted to his X account, the letter revealed Friend's attorney counseled him on November 24, stating he was subject to the FBI's social media policies since getting back on the Bureau's payroll. Still, Friend continued speaking out. They knew that he was doing that podcast, and he had to read a disclaimer every single time that he went on the podcast. And he did every single time he went on, bashing the FBI and weighing in on conspiracy theories. This is not a conspiracy theory. You seem unwilling to follow our advice on the matters discussed above, the lawyers wrote. With a threatening remark, Friends risk further adverse administrative action by the FBI, the law firm warned. Friend had also violated FBI policy by speaking to the media, including a December 2022 interview with Russian propaganda outlet RT during the time he was suspended and later reinstated, Nance said. Okay, this is a complete CYA. Before taking office, Patel had supported both Friend and Serafin through his foundation after they claimed they were fired by a Biden administration for their resistance to investigate January 6th rioters. But, okay, now I'm getting tired. Sorry. Upon taking the director position, Patel looked into reinstating Friend, but was concerned by what he found in personal files about the real reason for the ousting under the Biden administration. Informed sources told the Post, he's full of shit. Sorry. Details of the files' contents are unclear. The FBI said it does not comment on personal matters, but Nance said it's significant that Patel, who believed and supported Friend's initial whistleblower claims, was targeted by Friend. He wasn't targeted by Friend. He said, if I find out that this is a freaking cover-up, and those are my words. I'm summarizing because his words are much more bigger and eloquent, right? Kash Patel, he's the author of Government Gangsters. This guy has spent his whole life in conservative and MAGA circles and was instrumental in exposing the Crossfire Hurricanes investigation after Trump, Nance said. This is the guy who is now the FBI director. This is the guy who supported these guys financially and otherwise until he set foot in office and got access to personnel files. Okay. So keep this in mind for just a hot second. Kash Patel is not qualified for this role. And I'm going to say that. He is not qualified to have this role. He spends more time on the jet, flying to Nashville, to Vegas, going on all these around the globe with his girlfriend than he does doing his job. And I'll tell you this as well. The reason that Kash Patel got this job is because he told Kyle, hey, I'm going to make these guys whole. I am going to make sure they get their back pay. I'm going to make sure that they get reinstated. I am going to make sure of this, this, and that. The day after Kash Patel got confirmed, none of these people have heard from him. It's been none. It's been no communication. Kyle Serafin helped him get that job. He coached him on what to say, what to do, the ins, the outs. Because Kyle Serafin didn't want his job back. He did everything that he did because he wanted his friends to be made whole. There were people that were fired because Kyle had blown the whistle and they assumed it was someone else. I think that was Boyle. What is his first name? Garrett O'Boyle, right? They fired him when it was Kyle, right? So there's a lot of shenanigans that has gone down. We don't have the Epstein files. We don't have any of this stuff. So that is what they said. And I'm going to pull up this letter and then we'll probably wrap up this live stream. Did I take screenshots of the letter? I'm hoping that did I miss the letters? There's Tyler Robinson. I took screenshots of the letters for sure. I know I did that. I wanted to read verbatim the letter that was sent. And the only reason being was because his termination letter sounds like it went against, it was all about free speech. Right? And I guess I don't know the law. I don't know all the rules as far as this goes. And so I'm going to have to wait till for more information to come out. But this just happened yesterday. He was fired yesterday. And the news outlets knew before he did. Okay. That's not the Massey thread. Is that under a Massey thread? That's not under a Massey thread. Why did I get the wrong link right there? Hold on just one second. Now I gotta go to my bookmarks. Bear with me. Okay, today is this day. Oh my gosh, I have way too many folders. This is ridiculous. I forgot that I was going to do a live stream on the 12th and I hadn't gotten a chance to. So I have 2 different folders of bookmarks for this day. Oh my gosh. Wait. Oh, I never got to that story. I skipped the Tim. Did I skip something? Hold on. Tyler Robinson. I did skip that story, but that's okay. We've covered a lot tonight. I don't want this story getting buried. I wanted to save the juicies. Oh my gosh, where is this? All right, let's try a different one. Maybe I put it under J6. Let's go to J6. Let's see. I should just scroll through this. Do I really not have this bookmarked? Oh my gosh. I don't know if you guys follow Kyle Becker on X, but he actually has some pretty good takes. So he was saying that hardware purchases and location data is how the FBI say it made an arrest in the DC pipe bomb case nearly 5 years later. And then it says, that was 5 hours ago, 3 hours ago. Accused DC pipe bomber told FBI he believed the 2020 election was stolen, sources say. Interesting how that works out. While I'm looking for this article, guys, if you want to support the work that I do, you can subscribe to me on Rumble, on X, or on locals.com, which is an affiliate of Rumble. I think X is $4, Rumble and Locals is $5. Or you can leave Rumble rants, or you can go to my X profile, the very top of it, click on the decorated box, and you can see my Cash App and my Venmo there. You can do it that way as well. Oh my gosh, I have to find this. Give me 3 seconds. This is one that is important enough that I was going to lead with this. Okay, I'm just going to do a search. Stop being retarded. Just do a search. Go find it the right way. I think that they didn't put some of my stuff in folders. Oh, Kyle sounds. You know what? We're just gonna pull up some posts right here because this is gonna be some comic relief right here for me. I need some comic relief. All right, so let's go and clear back to April. Let's go to the latest. Something went wrong. All right, one word from Kyle Seraphin. You've been bamboozled. All right, let's backtrace some of these. Oh, maybe it was Miranda. Why? Okay. So for those claiming this report is, let's see, want the recent one. Let's go to Miranda Devine. And she had some good stuff on here. I think she might have posted the letter. She's probably got it. Okay. So let's scroll down. There's been so much. Oh, I must not have finished. I didn't even get to the Brown University shooting. Well, I'll cover that later in the week when I have more information. We'll get more information to come that. Just reminded myself that I am a visual person. I know exactly what it is that I'm looking for. I don't even have to read. Let's see, that's 2 hours ago. Oh my gosh, this person reposts a lot. Okay, today is the 14th, so this will be the 13th. Okay, we're getting on the right day. Why can't I think of the guy who I wanted to remember earlier? You guys are going to fall asleep on me. While I'm trying to find this. Oh, here it is. Told you. Steve was on my staff at North Dakota. I have known him always as a man of highest integrity. So we got these people vouching for this person. This is what I wanted to be able to read to you because I think that this says a lot. Says it all. I didn't forget to put it on there. It's on there. I have the wrong view. I'm all scrolling. I'm showing you stuff and it's not even visible because I'm that special person. And don't freeze up on me right now. I don't want you to freeze up on me. All right, it's not going to give me the view I want. We're just going to go with this one. Why? Let's edit this, make this bigger. All right, there we go. We'll just do that. Might be easy for you guys to see. Why didn't I do that sooner? All right, guys, thank you so much for your patience. I do appreciate it. I've got it here. So this is Miranda Devine. I haven't really followed her. I just barely started following her. I don't follow a lot of these people that post for any mainstream anything. I feel like a lot of times the information is not accurate. That's just me, and I don't know her, so maybe I will like her. So Hero, whistleblower, Real Steve Friend, has been fired by Kash Patel. I can vouch for Steve's integrity, having known him since he blew the whistle on J6 excesses and other FBI malfeasance under Biden and Wray. Steve has been pushed past breaking point after waiting out the Biden administration to receive justice, only to be slapped in the face, anonymously smeared, and betrayed by Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who promised him the world until they were in position to deliver. See, these people were promised a lot. These people, like a lot of Dan Bongino's sources were Kyle Seraphin. They were Steve Friend. They were other FBI whistleblowers. They were used. All right, so now the FBI uses the excuse of hot talk on his friend's podcast to fire Steve. They should have reinstated him immediately, like Scott Bessent honorably did for whistleblowers Gary Shapley and Joe Ziegler. Instead, it took until this October finally to sign the deal. But Steve was never given back his gun, his security clearance, or his security pass. Since his reinstatement, he has had no job, no health insurance, and was not paid the 3 years back pay he is owed. Finally, after the offending podcast appearance last week, he was allowed back into his old field office, but had to be escorted everywhere and no duties. Now he gets a letter firing him for rude comments. Okay. This is what is, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to blow this up. Can I do that from here? Oh, I can. That's amazing. All right. So let's make this big. All right. Mr. Stephen M. Friend, Jacksonville Field Office, Federal Bureau of Investigations. Dear Mr. Friend, this document provides official notice that you are being summarily dismissed from your position as the Federal Bureau of Investigations and removed from federal service under my authority as the FBI director, effective immediately. You have demonstrated unprofessional conduct and poor judgment. Specifically, after being reinstated in September 2025, you participated in unauthorized interactions with the media, publicly disseminated media sources, and commented publicly on FBI matters and ongoing FBI investigations. On August 26, 2025, you entered into settlement with the Department of Justice on September 21st, 2025. You were reinstated in a paid duty status as a special agent by FBI. From what I understood, he wasn't getting paid. Am I losing my marbles? In October 2025, you begin to participate in the public dissemination of media sources regarding the FBI's open investigation of 2 pipe bombs that were discovered in the vicinity of the Capitol on January 6, 2021. You also appeared on a podcast with members of the media discussing the ongoing investigation. You offered commentary on an ongoing FBI investigation from a position of presumed credibility as an FBI special agent. Cecil says, how are you? I haven't seen you in forever. Welcome, welcome. You also appeared on a podcast with members of the media discussing the ongoing investigation. You offered commentary on an ongoing FBI investigation from I just reread that whole entire paragraph, from a position of presumed credibility as an FBI special agent with no knowledge of the details or the status of the ongoing investigation. What's up, the Mina Bird? In November 2025, you were reminded of your obligations and requirements as an FBI employee. However, you made additional comments regarding the ongoing pipe investigation, including that the FBI was deliberately withholding evidence. You also disseminated media sources and photographs identifying an alleged subject and discussed the alleged subject on your podcast, despite the lack of credible, verifiable evidence necessary to publicly identify the subject. Okay, I'm calling absolute bullcrap on this. Some guy sent you here? That would probably be Cecil Says. He's not just some guy. Come on now. All right, so there's another part of this letter, I'm pretty sure. Yes, click on this. Was there not 2 parts to this? There we go. All right. After being reinstated, you continue to appear regularly on podcasts with members of the media discussing FBI matters and ongoing FBI investigations. You did not seek, nor did you receive authorization to engage with the media regarding FBI matters. I'm pretty sure that he said that every single time that he went on that podcast. Yay! Yeah, Sally from Christie. From time to time, absolutely. On December 5th, 2025, you appeared on a podcast devoted to analysis of the FBI's recent arrest of the pipe bomb subject, who is Brian Colvin, in case you guys didn't know, and he did not do it. This is my personal opinion based off of stuff and evidence that I've seen. You stated if the FBI was engaged in a put-up job with respect to this subject, then may God have mercy on your soul. And I'm going to end with this. I'm going to bring out my inner Commodus. You better pray to Gaia, Vishnu, or whatever your maker is, that real Steve Friend is never in a position to be an instrument of God's wrath, because I will be merciful. I will allow you to breathe every breath that your body will have for the rest of its natural life inside a box. And then when it ultimately fades to black, that's when the real wrath begins. I don't remember him saying that. These statements and actions demonstrate unprofessional conduct and poor judgment as FBI employee. I don't think he said that's when the real wrath begins. I don't remember him saying that. These statements and actions demonstrate unprofessional conduct and poor judgment as an FBI employee. Pursuant of Article 2 of the United States Constitution and the law of the United States, your employment with the Federal Bureau of Investigations is hereby terminated. You mod for Cecil Says? I didn't know that. If applicable, you may have a right to file an appeal of this removal with the U.S. Merit Systems Protection Board within 30 days of the effective date of the removal action. For more information on how to file an appeal with the MSPB, please visit blah, 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 blah. Okay, guys. Now I have to re-listen to that little clip real quick. I'm feeling like it's very necessary for us to listen to this clip, so just give me just 1 second. Let's go pull that back up, because I don't think that he said that last part. Let's go back and re-listen to this.
Now, if there are people back there who are Marilyn Melky style at the FBI, worried about what our foreign adversaries might think if it came to light that the FBI was actually involved in a Reichstag fire modern day, and they had to cover it up, and I don't care what the justification is, we're worried Marilyn Melky style. Maybe this guy was this Cole character was a entrapment playbook person who you already had on the hook, and what does it matter what sort of case we put him in, this one or the other? Maybe he's Chester the molester pedophile who you've got on a kiddie porn case, and you said, hey, why don't you just plead guilty to this one because the time will go easier for you in prison as a WMD guy rather than a pedophile. Or maybe you're in a position of executive leadership and you're just so damn thirsty to get a win for dad so that the president will be proud of you finally and your fans will return and have devotion to you. Whatever the motivation is, if you are doing another put-up job on this guy, and I think we spelled out a pretty compelling case that this probably ain't the guy, then may God have mercy on your soul. And I'm going to end with this. I'm going to bring out my inner Commodus. You better pray to Gaia or Vishnu or whatever your maker is, that real Steve Friend is never in a position to be an instrument of God's wrath, because I will be merciful. I won't give you a trial and a hanging. I'll allow you to breathe every breath that your body will have for the rest of its natural life inside of a box. And then when it ultimately fades to black, that's when real wrath begins.
Yeah, that I'm just gonna put it out there. This is a clickbait. Court docs showed nothing like what is being reported. Did Biden FBI identify Brian Cole Jr.? Sure looks like it might have been compared to the pipe bomb, blah, blah, blah. That's his affidavit. We're not going to read through that tonight. Okay, so they were trying to say that he was a brony, that he was into My Little Ponies. That was in 2017. Cole is 25 right now, so he would have been in high school. And if that was the case, how come he didn't have a brony on his backpack? You know, I'm just kind of curious about that. Let's see. Ooh, let's go check out Armidas's stuff. He might have dropped some stuff. I didn't check out his profile all weekend long. So this is Armidas, and that is obviously an alias. And he is the one who's been coming. Oh, I did want to read an excellent article summarizing and detailing the situation surrounding Brian Cole and recent events. I forgot about this. You can dislike, so I can like BX and the information she puts out, and I can like Kyle Seraphin and the information he puts out. Okay. I'm talking about Steve Friend, and I'm not talking about Kyle. So the two things can be true, because I am very much into the anti-trafficking. Like, that is what I do a lot of. And I can't say which organizations I volunteer for, but I definitely am into that. Like, I know all the background of that. So Armidas. So we have an excellent article summarizing the detailed situation surrounding Brian Cole. I think we should read this. This was December 6th. How the J6 pipe bombs may still detonate in the wake of 2026 midterms. All right, this was published 36 hours ago. So count the days, 1,793. That is how long the machinery of federal justice let the ghost of January 6th sleep before kicking down a door in Northern Virginia to wake a scapegoat. When the Justice Department, now steered by the Trump administration, announced the capture of the Spectre behind the RNC and DNC pipe bombs, the directive was clear: project order. Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel presented the arrest of Brian Jerome Cole Jr. as a final stitch in a wound left open for half a decade. So here is Brian Cole. Let's see, can we zoom in on this? I'll zoom in. All right, so you have the pipe bomb. This is what the person looks like, the backpack. You have the shoes. And there's the reward details, blah, blah, blah. I can't read that. That's too. All right, but look closer. 36 hours into custody, the government's victory lap is tripping over its own evidence. Cole is a soft-spoken 30-year-old with zero criminal history. Yet he is now the face of domestic terror plot that baffled the world's premier law enforcement agencies. The calculus of closure. On the surface, the arrest is a bipartisan sedative. For Republicans, it is vindication against the deep state. For Democrat, it confirms the narrative of MAGA radicalization. A win-win. Everyone gets a talking point. Nobody looks at the files. But the files are screaming. Representative Thomas Massie, Republican, Kentucky, long the forensic conscience of the House, dismantled the official narrative immediately. 3 things I'll never believe about the January 5-6, so they were planted on the 5th, right, found on the 6th, pipe bomb story. The bomber was a lone wolf. The FBI was this incompetent for 4 years on a case this consequential. Perpetrators were pro-Trump. Massey's skepticism highlights the darker reality. A vulnerable man, linked only by pattern of life algorithms, appears to have been swept up in a dragnet designed to silence questions, not answer them. The Justice Department wanted a headline to stabilize the 2026 midterms. Instead, they handed the public a political bomb. Is this law enforcement or is it career triage? By pitting a professional-grade disruption on a target this fragile, the administration hasn't cut the wire. They've just shortened the fuse. Okay, I got distracted. My head was going elsewhere. I'm going to focus on reading. I apologize. The algorithm and the void. 5 years of forensic testing yielded 0 DNA and 0 fingerprints. Nothing unknown places Cole at the scenes of the crime in the absence of proof, and Bureau substituted an algorithm. Federal investigators did not begin with a suspect. They began with a data lake. Geofence warrants pulled in every device that drifted past the RNC or DNC and reverse. Keyword warrants identified anyone who typed DNC, RNC, or pipe bomb DC into Google. Constitutional scholars note that this is the definition of a general warrant, precisely the kind the Fourth Amendment was written to forbid. By January 2023, the Bureau and its partners had interviewed roughly 1,000 people, visited more than 1,200 homes and businesses, assessed over 500 tips, ingested 39,000 video files, and compiled some 30 data sets from hardware stores, shoe vendors, and cell carriers. More than 105 million data points in all, with nothing to show the public but a grainy video clip and an error-shifting story about the data failed to deliver a name. AD Tech, okay, this was the one. AD Tech subpoenas produced a swarm of anonymized advertising IDs. So they use advertising to kind of for geolocation stuff. By March 2021, the case team had isolated at least one ad ID whose movements matched the suspect's route as depicted in the FBI's own video. Surveillance teams were dispatched to watch the user tied to that ID. Then the paper trail simply stops. The Bureau will not say why a lead strong enough to justify live surveillance quietly died in the vine. So that was person of interest 2 and person of interest 3, right? When pressed on why earlier geofence failed, Assistant Director Stephen D. Antuano blamed corrupt data. So they've said that the data was corrupted, but now that it's not corrupted. So that's something you got to think about. In early 2025, the Oversight Subcommittee wrote to all 3 major cell carriers to verify D. Antuano's claim. Each carrier replied that it had not provided corrupted data to the FBI and had never been notified of any access issues. The corrupted data story was not a technical glitch. It was a bureaucratic alibi that collapses under sworn correspondence. Very interesting. While the Bureau fumbled the data request, independent analysis found the fatal flaw in the map itself. Armidas analysis reveals the FBI's critical point 1. All right, so we're going to I'll show you this map. So you have critical point 1, right there, tower. It is a geometric fiction. The plotted sector does not physically cover the location cited. In the RF Canyon of Capitol Hill, a misalignment of degrees is not a technicality. It's a spatial possible. It is spatially impossible. It is an alibi. So they're saying that this geolocation 1 doesn't even exist. Okay, so here's the geolocation mapping. So I'm assuming you have suspect 1, you have 2, you have 3, you have 4, and you have 5. So the problem is that the first cell phone ping from tower 59323, 1, right? Bottom left, so down here, bottom left, is the wrong section compared to where the bomber actually was. Let me make sure I'm sharing this on the screen. I'm not even sharing this tab. I'm reading to you and I'm sharing the wrong tab. Okay, perfect, Sally. Perfect job there. But now we've gotten to the important part. Now you, oh my goodness, I'm a goober sometimes. Okay. All right, so now I can show you, here's the map. All right. So you have 1 is the bottom left, right? So let me start this reading over. The problem is that the first cell phone ping from tower 59323, which is the 1 on the bottom left, is in the wrong section compared to where the bomber actually was. Tower 59323 and tower 126187 at timestamps 73927 place him south of the DNC, not north of it. And that is Armidas, December 5th, 2025. The Immaculate Discovery, wash the hands, not the headline. The official story claims serendipity. The video suggests a script. On January 2025, House report confirms the chaos. The Joint Reports does not mince words, calling the DNC response a serious security failure and faulting both, excuse me. So calling the DNC response a serious security failure and faulting both Secret Service and Capitol Police for failing to conduct a thorough sweep before Vice President-elect Kamala Harris arrived, then failing again to enforce even the 300-foot minimum standoff distance in the FBI's own bomb response guidance. Civilians were allowed to stroll and drive within feet of what officials were simultaneously describing as a viable explosive device. The response wasn't a sweep. It looked like a retrieval. On January 5th, the suspect worked 3 separate pockets of foliage. The RNC area, so right here, you see right there in this little diagram here, a bush beside the Congressional Black Caucus Institute on New Jersey Avenue, and the front garden of C Street Center at Capitol Hill Dormitory. I didn't want to make that bigger. Well, I guess I could make it bigger. There you go. Kind of get that on full screen there. So these 2 bushes are the only ones the officers are seen looking under in the 11 minutes and 14 seconds. They are captured on available surveillance footage. And Steve Baker, November 18th. On January 6th, a Capitol Police counter surveillance team walked right past the yet undiscovered DNC bomb to lean into the same CBCI bush the suspect had spent more than a minute manipulating 17 hours earlier, then turned around and discovered the device under a nearby bench, bypassing the rest of the surrounding landscaping. There is no public record of any comparable search at the C Street Center Garden, even though video shows a suspect apparently trying to place something there the night before. In a city full of landscaping, how did they know which bush to look under first? Those are great questions. Then the blackout. Key cameras were remotely panned away at critical intervals. Camera 3 didn't malfunction. It looked away. Okay, that is something I just learned. The night before, the camera was where it was supposed to be. The second day, it wasn't. It was looking away. Camera 3 didn't malfunction. It looked away. When House Oversight demanded the footage, the DNC and Secret Service refused. Geometry of innocence. While the timeline suggests orchestration, the biometrics suggest a mistake. The government asks us to believe Brian Cole is the figure on the tape. The laws of anatomy disagree. Forensic analysis reconstructed the suspect's architecture, broad shoulders and short torso, a high waist, and a distinct toe-in gait that creates a prowling center of gravity. Brian Cole is a biological mismatch. Measurements show the inverse: a narrow frame, long torso, low waist, and a neutral upright gait. You can wear a hood, you can wear a mask. You cannot change the ratio of your femur to your spine. And that is exactly what I was thinking too. So, see how the elbow is right in line with the top of a hip bone, right? See the waist. You got groin. See the femur, bottom of the rib cage. See the elbow? Bottom of the rib cage. Elbow. Top of your hip bone. Brian Cole wearing Crocs, demonstrating body morphology vastly different from the J6 pipe bomb suspect. The suspect moves with the compressed tension of a coiled spring. Coil stands with the loose posture of a civilian. These are not minor deviations. They are fundamental divergences in skeletal geometry. The Bureau is betting on a jury ignoring the footage in favor of the fear. Physical bones may crush, but measurements do not yield to political pressure. The assets and the exclusion list. While the Bureau was forced, okay, I've gotten way too tired tonight. I want to finish this article though, and then we'll close this out. I've read this, but I want to finish this out. All right. While the Bureau was force fitting Cole into a frame that doesn't hold him, they were aggressively ignoring the person who fits it perfectly. 1 month before the arrest, analysis identified a ghost in the data. Shawnee Kirkhoff, a former Capitol Police officer who is now with the CIA. So you have Shawnee Kirkhoff. Oh, this keeps clicking open. Okay, that is her shooting down into the crowd at the Capitol. All right. Shawnee Kirkhoff busy shooting unarmed peaceful protesters in the face, in the nutsack on January 6, 2021. She would later, thank you for putting Cecil stuff in there, Neuro. Guys, make sure you're following Cecil Says. He's awesome. On January 6, 2021. She would later testify she shot one individual 30 or 40 times. The math is terrifying. Composite overlays and proportional modeling identify Kirkhoff as 94 to 98% match. The height, shoulder hip geometry, and lumbar curvature align. Even the gait tells a story. The suspect displays a distinct right leg hitch, mirroring a documented injury Kirkhoff sustained in 2025. You're awesome, Neuro. Thank you. All right, so you have body analysis of the hooded suspect, right? So you have the hooded suspect involved in the J6 pipe bomb incident compared with Brian Cole, the individual arrested for the incident, and former Capitol Police officer Shawnee Kirkhoff. Right, so you have her two photos on the right, and you have Brian Cole on the left. The behavior on tape mirrors the muscle memory of an insider, not the indecisiveness of a tourist with no foreknowledge. The suspect navigates blind spots with professional intimacy and casually waves at passing police cruiser. J6 pipe bomb suspect casually waving, blah, blah, blah. Additionally, the hooded suspect adjusts their sweatshirt in a manner that prepares to mimic adjusting the straps of a bra. Is this video? Oh, I need to find that video. The motion is seamless, moving from one shoulder to the next with fluidity and rapidity as if it was an ingrained behavior. Okay, I need to find that video. I have it. I have it saved somewhere. All right, Kirkhoff's footprint screams protected asset. She lived next to another person of interest, labeled PO13 in the earlier House report. Her landlord, a State Department public affairs official with 30 years of experience talking directly with the press, crumbled on the phone, stumbling between, I don't know anything, and insisted inquiries be forwarded directly to the FBI. Her dog Walker revealed that she requires background checks for anyone entering her home, a practice rare among his clients, even among those in intelligence communities. In addition, he preemptively destroyed her alibi, confirming she owned a single greyhound, contradicting her claim of being filmed with multiple of her puppies. All right, there's her puppy. Single adult greyhound adopted by Johnny Kirkhoff and her partner in 2020. Why was she deleted from the file? The answer may lie in her resume. Prior to January 6th, Kirkhoff secured a position with the CIA in federal law enforcement deconfliction. It is often a synonym for immunity. When a CIA asset's timeline bleeds into an FBI investigation, the investigation blinks. The Bureau traded a suspect who knew the cameras and had the badge for a kid with a shopping list. Internal FBI memorandum reviewed by House investigators showed that by early February 2021, the case team had flagged 186 phone numbers from geofence and tower data as worth follow-up. 36 were sent out for interview, 98 required more work, and 51 were simply parked as not needing further action because they belonged to law enforcement officers or persons of exclusion lists. So, how many? 51 were not allowed to be looked at. So, by early February 2021, the FBI identified 186 phone numbers of interest. Of those, according to internal, 36 of those phone numbers were assigned to agents for interviews. 98 of these phone numbers required additional investigation. 51 could not be investigated. No one has explained who creates that list or why proximity to a bomb becomes non-probative if your number appears on it. The Fourth Amendment does not distinguish suspects from ghosts, but apparently the security state does. The 4-hour box. Oh my gosh, this is a really long article. Am I going to make it through this? This is a really long article. I might have to finish this on our next stream. Holy cow. Okay. I should have led with this. Okay, let's see how far we get. If it wasn't this important, I probably would stop reading it, but this is kind of important. Okay. The 4-hour box. That is the duration of the custodial interview that produced the government's golden ticket. According to statements made by prosecutors at his initial appearance, Brian Cole didn't just confess to planting the bomb, he recited the entire political catechism required to close the case, endorsing Donald Trump and parenting the stolen election narrative. It's almost too perfect, and it contradicts the human reality of the suspect. Cole's family describes him as an almost autistic-like because he doesn't understand a lot of stuff and very naive, fundamentally incapable of the complex deception required to orchestrate and synchronize a terror plot. Public profiles paint the same picture his grandmother does, a quiet, awkward man who walked with Chihuahua in red Crocs through a Virginia cul-de-sac. I'm like, what? I've never seen it pronounced like that. A Virginia cul-de-sac, not a committed ideologue plotting symbolic bombs in the heart of D.C. So far, no photos have emerged showing Coles wearing any footwear other than his trademark Crocs. So you have him. Look at how long his arms are. Elbows up nice and high. Hands go clear past his appendage. Place a neurodivergent subject in a windowless room with seasoned federal interrogators desperate for a headline. Does he understand his Miranda rights, or does he understand that saying yes is the only way to make the pressure stop? Cecil is great. We may never know because we may never hear his voice. The FBI has not confirmed that the interrogation was audio or video recorded. Oh my gosh, they better have that. If the government relies on 302 agent summaries rather than the suspect's actual words, the confession becomes a paraphrase filtered through investigators' interpretations. Courts have repeatedly warned that for neurodivergent subjects, non-recorded interrogations are functionally unreliable In effect, they become hearsay with a badge. Not recording the audio of a cognitively vulnerable suspect in the age of body cams is not only foolish, it forces a jury to assume it's coercion. The revenge of state. This arrest smells less like justice and more like a receipt. Brian Cole is not a random data point. He is the son of bail bondsman who waged a high-profile legal war against the Trump DHS in 2018 after years of fighting local and federal enforcement. The elder Cole's firm, Free at Last, humiliated federal authorities over shadow detention policies, forcing internal changes and generating bad press for the administration. Doesn't seem like that big of a deal. In 2021, Benjamin Crump stood on the courthouse steps in Murfreesboro, accusing Assistant District Attorney John Zimmerman of racially profiling Free at Last and other minority-owned bond firms and urging the Justice Department to open a racial profiling investigation. The court files reveal a family intimately familiar with the system at every level, from arrest to a sentencing. But while other Cole siblings accrued felony records, Brian Jr. remained the anomaly, the quiet, neurodivergent son with a clean sheet. The kid that would not hurt a fly, according to his own family, knowing what criminal behavior looks like up close and personal. Now, 4 years later, the same enforcement ecosystem has placed the family's most vulnerable son at the center of an unsolved terror case. To call that a coincidence is to pretend federal agencies have no institutional memory and no appetite for revenge. The implication is chilling. The state didn't just follow the evidence, it reached into the home of a family that embraced it and plucked the only target clean enough to sell as a terrorist. Whether Brian Cole was already on the radar of a three-letter agency well before 21, we will probably never know. The team and the Crump factor. The context transforms the defense table. Brian Cole isn't being defended by a standard roster of public defenders looking for a plea. His initial attorney is John M. Shorman, a litigator specializing in antitrust and complex civil dispute. What the heck? Joining him is expected to be Mario Williams, a human rights advocate. They aren't fighting a murder charge. They are fighting a monopoly of power. This is Mario Williams. Looming over the docket is Benjamin Crump. He already has the connections, having represented the Coles against Rutherford County Sheriffs in 2021. Though his office has stressed that its 2021 engagement on behalf of Free at Last bail bonding lasted less than a month and never represented Brian Cole Jr. directly, their phone numbers, however, are already on speed dial. If Crump enters the ring, the script flips. As the de facto Attorney General of Black America, his arrival would guarantee a case that will not stay local. The DOJ's narrow bomb prosecution becomes a civil rights referendum on the digital dragnet, a neurodivergent man hunted by an opaque algorithm because his family fought the state. It ceases to be a defense, it becomes an insurgency. Burn the dragnet. The defense first move is to dismantle the machine that found him. Lawyers are preparing a battery of suppression motions targeting the digital apparatus, geofence warrants, reverse keyword searches, and the aggregation of 105 million data points from retail records. FBI records showed those data points encompassed virtually every U.S. purchase of black pipe, end caps, hobby wire, timers, and AA batteries in the months before and after January 2021. Only after repeatedly filtering those national data sets did Brian Cole's routine hardware purchase become algorithmically interesting. Nothing in the receipts independently ties him to a bomb. Only the dragnet does. They will argue these tools are the 21st century equivalent of general warrants, violating Carpenter v. United States by inverting the logic of justice. The Constitution requires the government to suspect a person to search their data. The FBI searches the data to find a person. Senate and House Republicans have already sent letters demanding the same cellular records. The defense most certainly will. If the initial warrant is ruled unconstitutional, the dominoes fall. The .1 tower hit, already proven geometrically Impossible by Armidas, becomes fruit of the poisonous tree. If the warrant dies, the map burns with it. And without the map, Cole was never there. The Bureau didn't just look for a bomb maker. They monitored the commercial activity of a third of the country to filter down to a neurodivergent man in Virginia. The defense intends to put the surveillance state itself on the stand. Okay. 1/3 of the nation using advertisements. So they were trying to oh my gosh. The physics of let's read. The Bureau didn't just look for a bomb maker. They monitored the commercial activity of a third of the country to filter down to a divergent man in Virginia. The defense intends to put the surveillance state itself on the stand. The physics of failure. While the defense attacks the data, they will also target the devices. Speed threatens to expose that the government's central premise is a scientific impossibility. Public statement by DOJ and the FBI continue to describe the devices as viable explosive devices. However, former FBI Assistant Director Stephen D. Antuono admitted the quiet part out loud to Congress in 2023. The timer used on the pipe bomb could not have detonated the pipe bomb, given the time already elapsed. A 60-minute mechanical timer cannot bridge a 17-hour gap. This is fatal to the prosecution's premise. This technical mismatch creates a legal trap anchored in United States v. Randu. Federal precedent is explicit in Randu. The conviction failed because the government could not prove the device contained a functional explosive mixture. The pending Brannon petition to the Supreme Court presses the same point, that a device is not a destructive device unless its chemical composition and initiation systems are verified and viable. A 60-minute kitchen timer on a 17-hour placement eliminates that possibility. On the record, the government calls them viable. On the record, their own official says the ignition system could not work. The relevant case law makes that contradicts legal perilous and absolutely lethal if the chemistry is equally inconclusive. You're 6'2"? Wow. Defense attorneys will demand full Rule 16 discovery to prove what the FBI likely already knows. The device lacked a viable ignition system. Under federal precedent, a tube filled with powder is not a destructive device. If it is not designed to function as a weapon, if the inner timer couldn't work, the device was a prop. The DOJ wants a trial to prove Brian Cole is a bomber. The defense will use the trial to prove the FBI is a fraud. Panopticon, oh my gosh, that no one voted for. This is coming and this is here. The case may achieve the impossible with the corpus able to align the nightmares of the ACLU left and the deep state skeptic right. Why? Because the methods used to catch Brian Cole didn't just find a suspect. They processed a population and engineered one. The FBI absorbed a 105 million transaction retail dragnet, tracking every black plastic end cap sold in 2020. They drew geofence around Capitol Hill, harvesting the IDs of commuters and bystanders. They used ALPR networks to rewind vehicle history across state lines, binding it is Palantir's single pane of glass, turning scattered noise into a targeted package. Oh my gosh. Oh. This is exactly right. The FBI absorbed a 105 million transaction retail dragnet, tracking every black plastic end cap sold in 2020. They drew geofence around the Capitol, harvesting the IDs of commuters and bystanders. Right? Harvesting, which means they're holding on to them. They used a LPR network to rewind vehicle history across state lines, binding it all is Palantir's single pane of glass, turning scattered noise into a targeted package. So they integrated. Oh. To enable our Palantir, we built solutions to help break down barriers between traditional stovepipe systems to provide leaders with decision quality information needed to drive advantage. To enable our customers to rapidly achieve initial results while continuing to meet evolving mission needs. We design agile software solutions at speed for rapid deployment with cutting-edge functionality advancements. Our collaborative and iterative approach has successfully been implemented with organizational partners across the DoD, the intelligence community, and the industry for over 15 years. All right, guys. AIML models turn streaming data into an actual intelligence in real time. You have tactical and operational users, collaborative on plans, fusing intel and op, right? Fusion centers, fusing information. A single pane of glass connects data, tools, and users across. Oh my gosh, guys. I only have this look on my face because I've already covered all this information, but not from this viewpoint. Critics argue this validates a surveillance model where lawful behavior, shopping, driving, walking, becomes the raw material for probable cause. We no longer need to look for the needle when we can burn the whole haystack down. Prophecy of the election. The government leans heavily on a timeline of ordinary hardware purchases, pipes, end caps, tape, stretching back to 2019, more than a year before the 2020 election and long before any public claim of election fraud existed. By anchoring its bomb-making pattern to receipts that predate the political grievance, it now claims was the animating force. The FBI unintentionally detonates its own theory of intent. A man cannot radicalize over an event that has not yet occurred, nor prepare a politically motivated attack in I can't speak. I'm so tired. Politically motivated attack in anticipation of an unfalsified election he could not yet know would be disputed. That was what I say. The chronology does not support the narrative. It contradicts it. All right, so there's all the purchases, guys. You can go through and scan all of that. Goes clear back to 2019. Component purchase. What is that? Okay, coal purchase, red, black, 14. Yeah, so you can go read through all of that. Equally conspicuous is what the receipts did not show. Despite the sweeping claims in the affidavit, there's no documented purchase of any explosive compound, not black powder, not Pyrodex, not smokeless propellant, not potassium percolate, not aluminum, not sulfur. To paper over this vacuum, the government now speculates the explosive mixture was homemade, an assertion unsupported by lab findings and defeated by its own timeline. Homemade black powder requires sulfur, charcoal, and potassium nitrate, none of which appear in the procurement records cited. It also requires testing, burn rate checks, mixture correction, granulation, all of which would have left chemicals or tool mark traces the FBI has never produced. In the absence of verified explosive material, the state is left with a prophecy, purchases that do not match the device, and a device that does not match the law. Breathe. I know, I'm trying to read fast. Just slow down. Then comes the most damning temporal fracture of all. The post-January 2021 purchases. The affidavit cites transactions made after the inauguration, after the FBI publicly announced a $100,000 reward for identifying the pipe bomber, after national distribution of the surveillance footage, and after every major outlet ran images of the suspect as America's most wanted political terrorist. Nothing about these later purchases aligns with the behavior of a man supposedly living in fear of imminent arrest. No bomber with a six-figure federal bounty on his head continues strolling into hardware stores to buy the same material tied to his supposed crime. The banks do not merely fail to show consciousness of guilt. They show the opposite. They depict the routine, unguarded commercial habits of someone who had no idea he was being algorithmically molded into a myth. The void in the evidence room. Oh my gosh, what did I just do? I clicked the button. Oh, sorry, I got it back. The void in the evidence room. The most deafening sound in the investigation is the silence coming from the lab. The government asked the jury to bridge the gap between persons of interest and terrorists without the foundational bricks of forensic science. Look at the inventory. No eyewitnesses. Not a single soul places Cole at the RNC or DNC. No biology. 5 years of testing yielded 0 DNA and 0 fingerprints on the device's tapes or bag. No tool marks. No striations smashed tying Cole's tools to the pipe threading. No explosives. No confirmed bulk quantity of verified explosive compound. No ignition. The 60-minute timer is a scientific impossibility for a 17-hour delay. No destructive device. Without a verified powder or a viable initiator, the pipes fell to the federal definition of a weapon. They are plumbing. No conscience of guilt. In 1,793 days, Cole never ran, never scrubbed his digital footprint, and never hid. Instead, he walked his dog and went on with his life like nothing was amiss. A key logical question remains buried under the affidavit's silence: timing. Brian Cole is reported to have worked for DoorDash. The government has not disclosed when or if this is true. That gap may not be incidental. If Cole's delivery shifts overlaps with the night of January 5th, then the entire pattern of life theory collapses into coincidence. An algorithm misreading the movements of a gig economy driver as the choreographic. Oh my gosh, what can I say this word? Choreography of a bomber. What if Cole received an order in the exact same corridor of Capitol Hill at the exact moment a hooded suspect, moving with insider confidence, navigated blind spots while carrying a bag of non-functional props until prosecutors produce a verified work history? The most banal explanation remains on the table. Cole wasn't scouting targets. He was delivering food. The kill switch. The White House has gone dark. For an administration that posts in all caps at 3 a.m., the silence surrounding Brian Cole is calculated. President Trump knows the stakes. The DOJ delivered a trophy. If the trophy shatters in court, it cuts him. They're not wrong. A failed prosecution or the public unraveling of a rushed frame-up validates the central charge of the opposition that the department has transformed from a ministry of justice into a weapon of midterms. Democrats point to the recent arrest of James Comey as the opening salvo of a politicized purge. The Cole docket is the test case. If the files reveal a collage of junk science and coerced admission, the risk becomes binary: convict the bomber or prove the critics right. The decision to sprint past the evidence or widen the aperture will not be made in a press conference. It will be made in discovery. The government can no longer hide behind sources and methods. They must hand over the raw data. Does the forensic lab report exist or is it blank? Does the interrogation tape exist or is it summary? Does the Point One tower data align with reality or does it defy physics? The administration wanted a symbol of closure. They are about to find out if the pipe bomb actually came with a 5-year fuse attached. All right. Credit to artists for many of the photos used in the article. All right. So you guys can go follow Armitas, ARMITAS. I don't think I've ever read an article that long when I'm trying to end up a space or a stream. Hopefully you guys were able to understand what I was saying. And I was trying to explain this in my own words. I don't like to... This is way too important to ad-lib. Reading verbatim is just the best way to go about it. So, Aaron, there you go. There's your more facts. That is why I was able to come up with the conclusion that I had. That is the evidence that I have been presented with and the evidence that I've been holding on to, which makes it not make any sense. What's up, Mickey? Guys, I want to thank everyone for coming. Before I thank everybody, I will continue to cover this story as things come out. And I'm not going to go back in time because since I'll have these streams are recorded, people can go back and get the groundwork of everything. You guys have to remember that I'm very much up and down. I'm more ever since I discovered the movement of human beings across borders and state lines and going to MS-13 gang members. And yes, I'm picking my words carefully there. My politics have changed. My politics are a lot more stricter. I'm more further to the right. I'm very much into small government. I'm not a libertarian. I don't know what I am these days. When I read this article, and when I'm covering this stuff, I'm coming from a place of I want to know the truth. I don't have a bias either way. I don't know people. I know I've met people since January 6th that I really like, and I think they're amazing people. I've heard their stories, and I come at this from the angle of a skeptic mind of things do not add up. And when things don't add up, it's like a puzzle. My brain doesn't stop until the puzzle pieces all fit and everything makes sense and it's all in a neat little picture. That is how my brain works. I've had to even try to turn my brain off from this type of thing, much like a puzzle. If I were to get a 1,000-piece puzzle out, put it on the kitchen table, I could work till 5 a.m. to where I can't even open my eyes trying to fit those puzzle pieces together because it just needs to be complete. I want it finished. This doesn't make sense. If you look at the facts, you look at the information and the data that's in there, things don't add up. I encourage you guys all to do your own research. Go fact check the articles that I presented with you. Like I said, I try to find valid sources. I try to see who has a tendency to embellish or those who are just trying to bring the truth with the facts and lay the chips lie where they may. And that's what I hope to bring on Sunday nights. I think I'm going to do, this is going to be my new title. Last week tonight with Talk with Sally, I am just going to take all of the stories from the week. And some we'll go through quicker and some will go through slower depending on what's out there. We did not get to the Australia shooting tonight. We did not get to the Brown shooting tonight. I probably will cover that either tomorrow night or I'll cover that on Wednesday. Tuesday night is when I do my anti-trafficking space, which I will be now live streaming right directly after that, just in case there is audio issues or technical issues. It'll just be easier for me to solve in that way, in that manner. So guys, I want to thank all of you for being here. I've got almost 1,200 people, right? Late at night listening to me go through this. Sorry that I'm tired. Hopefully you guys could understand what I was reading. I did read through a lot of that fast at the end. If you guys are not subscribed to me, you can on Rumble, X, or on Locals. If you don't have the funds to subscribe to me, you can share out my content, spread the word, leave comments, go to my X page, share stuff over there, comment over there, like stuff over there. If you want to raid a music stream, okay, you're going to have to tell me how to raid it because I don't know if I remember how to raid Neuro. So let me say goodbye to everyone and I'll let you walk me through the steps of a raid. Do I just click in raid and then click in that link? I think I remember something like that. I go raid // So, okay. And then I put in the link to that, right? Do I put in the link first and then raid or raid and then the link? That's all I need to know. All right. So guys, make sure you're following me on all of my platforms. I would very much appreciate it. Do I have anything important to say? Tomorrow night, I'm going to try to do a live stream earlier in the night. I do not have any late night clients, so I should hopefully. So tonight, I started late because I was trying to get the music. Thank you, Neuro. Perfect. Why is it? I don't want your name in there. I just want to click the copy. You guys are giving me ADD here. Copy link. Please stay here. Do not push enter. Okay. Sorry. They're teaching me how to raid another stream, which is what I want to do because I want to support other people. Why didn't the raid part go in there? Raid and then link. Hold on. Hold on, live stream peoples. Okay, hold on. I want to say proper goodbye. And I don't feel like that I'm doing that. Okay. Is there a space between the link or no space between the link? I guess we'll try it both ways. Oh, nope, it's going to do that. Okay. All right, everybody, before I push end, we're going to raid. If you are on Rumble, we are going to be raiding a music stream. With that said, I'm hoping to do a live stream tomorrow night, Tuesday for sure, definitely the anti-trafficking. So I'm going to get locked down a regular schedule. So it's the same time all the time. You can predict it. You can put on your calendars. You can make sure you show up every single night. If there's any topics that you want covered in specific, whether it be research or whatnot, DM me on X or follow me over on Locals and you can message me over there. I always have a 24-hour chat going on over there once you subscribe. Did I cover everything? I'm tired now. Now I'm punch drunk. Now I'm talking nonsense. I want to thank everyone from X. You have made the chat really fun. I've got David, the Gator, Aaron, Mickey, Zany Digits, and there's going to be other people. Kim Tink is who did my videos. I need to put her name up here real quick. Where's her? I need to put her banner up real quick. Give me 3 seconds, guys. Because I asked her today, I'm like, hey, can you show for 10 seconds? No. What? Do they have? Oh, they have timers now. Oh, I can do a timer for a banner now. That's kind of cool. All right, I got to search Kim Tink real quick. Because we're going to put her... All right. Because I want you guys to follow her. She, within minutes, within an hour, I said, hey, I want an intro for my live stream. Could you help me? I'm tired of having copywritten music that I paid for that I can't use, right? I paid for it so I could use it and wasn't able to. And so she did this afternoon. I did have to, I'm going to do better with the animation, but it'll work for now. But this is her right here. I don't want to show up for 10 seconds. I want to show up for longer than that. This is kind of cool. They have a timer. I'm just going to turn the timer off for this. That's a new feature, guys. All right. So I can't put, you're going to have to look. Oh, what's up, Yahweh? You're going to have to look at, that wasn't the link I put up there. What is this doing? I don't want it to have a timer. Okay, hopefully the timer's not going to go off. Anyway, I'm going to do the animation, but, oh, that's not, why is there a timer? I don't want a timer. Timer off. Oh, do I got to click there for the timer? How do I turn the timer off? Edit. The timer's off. Oh, it's a different timer. All right. I got it figured out. Okay. So there's Kim. Timer off. There we go. Follow at Kim_Tink on X. She is an AI artist and she's really, really good. She put together some cool AI images. The only person that's ever gotten close to my likeness, which I hate AI because I don't like to look like someone I'm not. I think it's catfishing and I think it's rude. Just my personal opinion. So my intro, my outro are done by her. I do need to make it longer than 30 seconds so I can get notifications sent out here nor there. Okay, guys, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Thanks for being here. You're all freaking absolutely amazing. I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow night. And always remember that there's only two things in this life that you can control. It's your attitude and it's your effort. Everything else is beyond our control. So be kind to others. Work hard. Choose to wake up happy. It's your choice. Even when you didn't sleep well, it's your choice to be happy and be productive, or be lazy and pout you're not. And Yahweh, everyone on Rumble and YouTube, it's been a long time, but I've missed you guys. I have missed you guys a lot. I remember all of you. I'm so glad that you're like, after all this time off, you guys are still here. You're still supporting me. And I can't thank you enough. You guys can go to my X page. You can go to the top of my, where there next to the DMs, there's a box with a design. There's my Venmo link and my Cash App link. Not required. Just if you want to donate for my time and my efforts, I much appreciate it. With that, guys, being said, I'm going to push enter and then I'm going to log out. So I'm going to go raid. I've never done this. So will my live stream end when I raid, Neuro? We're finding out. Here we go. We're finding out how this works. So we just raided someone. So do I need to stay alive for a second, or does it automatically just go over there? I asked you if I had to do that. Okay, but it said raid. Okay, so we got, are you sure? Okay, hold on. Hold on, guys. Sally's got to redo this. Don't scroll. Oh my gosh. I don't know what it's doing now. Okay, hold on. Paste. Nobody answers my questions. See, now we've got the raid. Now I'm pushing enter. Okay, let's try this again. This way I can raid other people. I'm going to be excited about this. Confirm raid to Darth Jason. I haven't seen him forever. Got it. All right. As soon as this is over, guys, I will be ending my live stream as soon as it's successfully gone over to the Nether chat. Yay. I successfully raided another channel. We'll join over there. We'll give them a follow because that's what we do, is we support each other, guys. So Darth Jason. All right, guys. Okay. With that said, guys, have a wonderful Monday. Oh my gosh, that article took me 2 hours to read. I just realized. Holy cap. But I'm awesome. You're awesome. We're awesome. Ending stream, and not deleting the end of this. Because now this is, in case anybody wants to know, this is me delirious. This is me delirious right now. I freaking love it. Okay, I'm ending stream. Oh yeah, I have an outro. Let's listen to my outro. Play outro and end stream.
Before we go, let's stay connected. Follow and subscribe. X, YouTube, Rumble, TikTok too. Thanks for tuning in, for joining what's true. Until next time, when we talk with Seth.